Okay, we'll call the San Clemente City Council meeting for June 16th to order.
Okay, first item on the agenda is invocation given by Pastor Jeff Cotrity from Calvary South OC.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's pray. Father God, you tell us in your word, Lord, to pray for the peace and prosperity of our city. Lord, and so that's what we're here to do tonight. Lord, I pray, God, for the peace and prosperity of San Clemente. God, we thank you so very much, God, for this city in which you have placed us. God, we thank you for the leaders in which you have called and appointed and elected to serve us so faithfully. Father, I'm reminded, Lord, in your word in James, God, where it tells us that if anyone lacks wisdom to ask, and you will give it liberally, abundantly, God. And so, God, I pray, Lord, for our council members, God, and our other city leaders and officials, God, that you would give them wisdom. God, that you go before them, Lord, as they hear the concerns and thoughts and needs of, Lord, our people in our city. And God, help them, Lord, to see what is best and right for our city. God, help them to, Lord, not act in the best interest of themselves, but Lord, help and to work and act in the best interest, Lord, for our community, God. Lord, I pray that you'd give them boldness and courage, Lord, that even when there might be something that's unfavorable, Lord, that you would help them, Lord, to walk in courageousness, Lord, to walk in boldness, God, for what you've called them to do. God, I thank you, Lord, for our first responders and police officers, God, as they protect and keep safe our community, Lord. Continue to go before them. God, I thank you for their willingness to go towards an incident, God, when many are running from it. Lord, just as they serve and sacrifice, Lord, their bodies, their lives, put them on the line, Lord, to keep us safe. In your name we pray, Jesus. Amen.
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 Mr. Streeter, you want to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first item on the agenda is roll call, and we will note that we have all city council members present. We don't have any special presentations this evening, so we will move on to council member reports.
Anybody want to volunteer to kick it off? Mr. Wu.
On June 4th, I attended a SCAG, Southern California Association of Government Transportation Committee meeting. That's the only thing I have. Besides that, I want the public to know that the sales tax increase ballot pamphlet arguments and rebuttals were finalized, so there was no more change. And they are posted on the city website. If anyone wants to learn about them, go to the city website, search ballot initiative, and all those documents are posted there.
Thank you, Zen. Mark?
Yes, all I have is congratulations to the high school students who graduated. I was there in attendance with Mayor Loeffler here, and yeah, it was a great, wonderful celebration.
Victor?
Oh, sure, yeah. I'm going to do this rather quickly. Maybe you can help me with this since you're a law enforcement person. Can't hear you. Mike, we had, I mean, I hate bringing this stuff up, but we did have a break-in in San Clemente, the traditional Chilean kind of break-in. And so I thought it would be a great opportunity just to remind people about that. And maybe our chief can talk for a minute about what that means. And in summer, when people are traveling, there's a lot of services that are offered. It was an incident. It happened. It's not important where it happened, but it was the traditional kind of break-in that we've had in the years past. Have gone in all over the country, all over Southern California, where they come in from the back of the house up the side of the hill and break into the homes, and it happened to 2 homes here in San Clemente. So just want to remind people, be vigilant.
Sure.
Chief?
Good evening, members of City Council, city staff, and members of the public. So just real quick, a couple things is, one, lock your doors and turn your alarm on. I think those are the easiest prevention methods that you guys can start with. Second, all of your things that you guys work so hard to accumulate over your lives, put them in a man-sized safe. A safe that anyone can pick up is something that can be taken from you, right? So if you're going to get a safe, make sure it's a very large and heavy safe that can't be carried out by one individual. Second, there are things that were already put in place to prevent burglaries from occurring regularly, which includes saturation and hotspot patrols. We have a whole south-directed enforcement team that regularly enforces and arrests burglary crews year-round, not just in the summer. And in addition to that, because we are fully staffed, I will be able to introduce a burglary suppression team with our current patrol deputies that we have here in the city. So with all those things, making sure your doors are locked, your alarms are on, don't leave valuables in your car overnight. San Clemente is an extremely safe city, but don't allow yourself to be a target when you can prevent it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
You want-
just to add also, I mean, the summer by the beach, it's crimes of opportunity usually. So, you leave your garage door open with a bicycle in it, there's a good chance it can get snatched. Lock your doors at night because it's just, like I say, crimes of opportunity seem to perk up more in the summer.
Yes, sir.
Also.
Thank
Thanks, Chief.
you. A couple other things. We had the SONGS Community Engagement Panel. We brought in experts from all over the country. The two insights that I have from there is that you recall that 3 years ago, we gave, well, we didn't give, but Congress passed a provision to give $26 million to for consent-based citing. It was an effort to let community groups, DEI groups all over the country know what consent-based citing is, maybe talk some of them into moving the nuclear fuel there. I didn't think it was a good use of the money. I asked for a report this past CEP money, this CEP meeting, and there probably is likely never going to be a report on where that money went or how it was spent. So just one of the highlights of that meeting. The second thing is we have about, I think it's close to $20 billion to move the nuclear fuel. There's talk of a group creating an organization that would manage that as a private entity to get the fuel moved. I don't favor that. I favor, getting behind this administration who is looking directly right now, again, at Clive, Utah, and several other sites around the country. And I'd rather get behind one of those efforts to move the nuclear fuel within the next few years rather than create legislation that's going to take 8 to 10 years to find a new site and do a new study. That's my thinking on that. In terms of sand on the beach, the seawall, there was a meeting this past week with the OCTA. They're talking about creating a seawall down in Cypress Shores, which I don't like. I'll be honest, I don't like it. I think we as a city council are going to have to do all we can to fight that. Traditionally, OCTA has waited till there's an emergency and then said, oh, we need to put more revetment, more rocks on the San Clemente beaches. And actually, it happened today. The railroad was closed today because of right there in Cypress Shores. Who knows how long it will be closed? It's because of the high tides, the king tides. They've determined that the rails aren't safe. And I would venture to say that they're going to start looking to the Coastal Commission to say we've got to put more revetment in that area and pile more rocks along our beaches. That's what they did in the Mariposa Beach area with the wall that it created. I don't think it's a favored approach to defending our bluffs and on the railroad track. In fact, I think I reported last time I met with the Department of Transportation, the people in charge of the rails, 3 weeks ago in Washington, D.C. I made my pitch for more sand, and we're looking at that. We're actually going to apply independently for our own money to put the sand on the beach as a city if we get consensus here. But I think we've all talked about it from the dais, so I have an understanding of what everybody thinks on that. But I think it's the right approach. And lastly, on the fires, I just want to mention we had 2 fires here One, a 4-acre fire. I think that's the 4-acre fire right outside here. Can you show us the other slides? There's also a 40-acre fire on the base, and the next one. But they did use what the city put in, that little tank there of water. They used that on the first fire. They tell me it worked extraordinarily well, and it helped to have the water right there. And so all the people that were involved, including this city and the leaders in that, the homeowners association, it's already been put to use to put out fires. Is there another photo too? That's the fire today. That was taken from across the street from my neighbor's house. I took that, the helicopter fighting the staging area. Again, a reminder, our fire chief isn't here yet, but he's gonna be here a little bit later, that it's fire season. You gotta be vigilant. You gotta watch out for fireworks. You gotta make sure that that we're protecting the community around us, because any one of those fires could have come up to San Clemente. Still can. Thank you.
Thank you, Victor. Steve?
Yeah, just a few things. First, I attended the annual San Clemente newly called Pier Conservancy group with their annual tour from Dana Point to the beach, and we heard some interesting, enjoyable music that was on that boat. Also, but speaking of
The music was okay.
music, was great. Actually, it was kind of cool. It's actually.
Let's just move on, Steve.
Kinda cool. Speaking of fires, the goat operations in town are going well. I had the opportunity to spend some time watching and working with the goat operation here with our HOAs. Very, very effective, and would like to see that expanded in our town to mitigate the fire risk here. Attended a meeting with our state senator and a number of local leaders to talk about sand, fire, and other issues. I was delighted to learn that the South Coast Water District, in their effort to put in the desalination plant, the Trump administration has increased funding for desalination projects, and their grants, looks like they're going from around 27 million to 75 million. So looks like the facility may get built, may be a little easier for them to build it. So that's an exciting prospect for the water shortage in the future. So that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Want to put my slide there. So, yeah, I'll put up the slide of kind of a highlight of my activities. And, yeah, I want to weigh into the high school graduations. The third one I've gotten to go to. It's really, really neat, especially when you know a lot of the people whose kids are graduating, and it gives you some 99%, it gives you a lot of hope for the future. There's about that 1% I'm not sure of. So, we're going to have to watch those.
still working on that.
Okay, so that was great. And as Steve mentioned, the Pier Pride is now known as the San Clemente Pier Conservancy, which is, I think a great name. I think it actually encompasses what that is better.
And just let me say, Mr. Mayor, that group has done such a great job. They actually work on the pier. They've done railings, they've done paintings, they've done bike racks, they've done bird-proof roofing on our structures. They're spending a lot of real money on our pier, and we really appreciate what they're doing.
And
Thank you for your involvement.
They're going to partner with us for the redo the entry of the pier in September. It's going to be beautiful. So that was great. You want to go to my next slide there? Okay, congratulations to the San Clemente High School surfing team. They have just won the National NSSA Surfing Championship. It seems like they win it every year, but I just wanted to give a shout out to them. Great group of kids, and again, we're national championships in surfing, and I think that tones well as we head towards the surfing in the Olympics. I'm going to go to the next slide. Also went to the Salty Turf golf course ribbon cutting, and I just took a couple of photos. It's incredible. We finally have a family community activity that we can utilize. And there's two courses. There's kind of a pro course, and then the last picture was like they have a pier, actually a recreation of the pier. Here's a full-size lifeguard tower that they built. And there's a military jeep. It's just incredible. And also had a chance to go up and eat lunch up there and have some food. And I think Andy, I think you would agree, and Elizabeth, and where's Brian Brower if he's here? The food was incredible. So it's just, if you have a chance to go up there, the kids will love it. They were packed this last weekend, and it's just, like I say, so good to have a real family activity that we can go to in town, so, home run.
It's a public-private partnership, too, so
That's right. This group leased from the city, so the city is getting a nice chunk of change for this property that has been vacant forever, and also we're going to get a piece of that sales tax, and it looks like for last weekend was any indication of it, city is going to really benefit from this also financially, so it's great.
you didn't mention the band.
You guys are cool. Yes, my band played on the boat. It was exciting. We really had a great time.
You did a great job.
Oh, well, thank you. We'll just stop there while we're ahead. Madam Clerk.
Yes, sir. Next item on the agenda is oral communications. I will call the first few speakers. Amanda Quintanilla, followed by Lois McNichol, followed by Donna Vadrine.
Good afternoon. I have a PowerPoint, and hopefully it'll queue up. So we're experiencing some changes to the entrance of the pier. Next slide, please. Next slide. Beautiful picture of the pier. So previously, Pier Pride, their mission statement or specific purpose was to raise funds to maintain and support the San Clemente Pier, but they've been rebranded. Next slide, please. And so basically, they're going to get rid of the bushes there, some of the trees there on the left. Next slide, please. And so basically, killing trees in a Tree City, USA, where cities are supposed to preserve trees, defeats its purpose. The movement started to inspire communities to prioritize planting, caring for trees, strengthening the health and well-being of people and places. Next slide, please. So on the new website, the projects for Pier Pride is for a safe alternative. Basically, they're stating that they want to minimize traffic congestion, but according to one of the city engineers, there is no traffic data to show that there is congestion. Next slide, please. So one of the things that I was thinking about is moving the trolley stop at this location by the ADA parking there. Next slide, please. And so there's another picture on the left of what they're going to be removing on the right side. And then there's another area right here where there would be a loading and unloading potential trolley sign, trolley stop. However, the grade and the turn makes it difficult for a line of sight. So scratch that one. Next slide, please. So basically, the third project that they're doing is to provide a view corridor. However, when we look at the general centennial plan, that view corridor, there isn't there. It's the different locations, so that defeats that purpose. Next slide, please. So here's another place where on the left side that they're going to remove those trees there and those bushes and just put concrete there. Next slide. So this is their plans, and so they're going to remove some of the trees there in front and put a stairwell down below, which is actually problematic because there is a light there, so they would have to remove that, and then, of course, the fisherman's sign. Next slide. So basically, this is a history of the pier, that it's been redone. It was formed by the architect, or designed by William Eyre, and there's been some changes around through the years of 1928, 1940, 1983, which was destroyed by the storm. So next slide. And I think I'm done, but I just feel that we should preserve the trees there because we are a Tree City, USA, and also a bird sanctuary. And I was not able to get the audio of the birds when I was there this morning. You could hear them above, but hopefully that could be preserved.
Thank you, Amanda.
Lois McNichol, followed by Donna Vadrine, followed by Trish Sweeney.
This is the last city council meeting before the 250th birthday of our country. Taxation without representation was one of the reasons America came into existence. Anyone remember the Boston Tea Party? That makes its proposed 1% sales tax hike worth examining very carefully. The measure is being marketed as necessary for sand replenishment and fire prevention, yet I haven't heard a meaningful discussion about it at a city council meeting. Plenty of time for little blue cards, though. Even the title, designed by our city attorney, raises questions. The San Clemente Natural Hazard Protection and Resilience Act of 2026. Seems our city attorney has been taking lessons from the state on how to purposely misnomer a ballot measure. Where are the words beach, sand, or fire? If those are the selling points, why not say so directly? A few things stand out. It's described as a 10-year tax, but the initiative allows it to return to the ballot in 8 years for another 10-year extension with a simple majority vote. 2 restricted funds would be created. The Beach Protection Fund requires only 70% of the money to be spent on sand replenishment, nourishment, and retention projects or beach erosion control. The Fire Protection and Wildlife Preparedness Fund allows 50% of these monies to be used for other directly related activities that advance wildfire protection goals. That's broad language with plenty of room for interpretation. Residents are being told this is necessary to protect homes from wildfire based on a 2025 CAL FIRE report. Yet, taxpayers already fund the Orange County Fire Authority, right, Victor? And police and fire services consume a large portion of local budgets. Some claim this could lower insurance costs or improve availability. If that's true, insurance companies should publicly confirm it before voters are asked to approve a tax increase. At the end of the day, the only guaranteed outcomes appear to be a new committee, additional reports, and more bureaucracy. Government is very good at producing paperwork. The real question is whether or not we will see any results. Before approving a tax increase, citizens deserve clear answers, specific commitments, and accountability, not vague promises. If fire protection and wildfire preparedness is suddenly a city obligation, then why do we need the Orange County Fire Authority? They have allowed San Clemente to become a very high-risk fire zone.
Thank you, Lois.
Donna Vadrine, followed by Trish Sweeney.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. I'm Donna Vadrine, a District 1 resident and longtime San Clemente homeowner. Housing affordability is one of the most important local issues facing our community today. Our teachers, nurses, public safety personnel, retail workers, and young professionals are increasingly unable to afford living in the city they serve every day. If we want working families to put down roots in San Clemente, raise their children here, support our local businesses, and strengthen our schools, we must be willing to explore innovative housing solutions that promote home ownership. I applaud the City Council in Costa Mesa for exploring ways to help residents purchase their first home. Costa Mesa has been investigating a first-time home buyers assistance program that could provide qualified applicants with financial assistance in the form of grants or loans to help purchase a home. Eligible properties could include single-family residences, townhomes, condominiums, and manufactured homes. Participants would be required to occupy the home as their primary residence for at least 5 years, helping ensure public funds support long-term home ownership rather than short-term investment. San Clemente could explore similar opportunities. Homeownership has long been one of the most effective ways to financial stability and generational wealth. Yet many young adults who grew up here can no longer afford to stay here. Let's shift the conversation from creating obstacles to creating opportunities. Let's encourage sensible planning, innovative partnerships, and practical solutions that can help first-time homebuyers achieve the dream of home ownership in the community they love. The future of San Clemente depends on retaining the people who work here, serve here, and want to build their lives here. A community remains strong when the next generation can afford to call it home. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna.
Trish Sweeney?
Good evening, City Council members. My name is Trish Sweeney, and I'm a resident of Laguna Beach. Several years ago, my life was saved at Providence Laguna Beach Hospital. I suffered a sudden cardiac emergency, and in those terrifying moments, every second mattered. It was a summer weekend, and traffic in town was very heavy. The doctors, nurses, and staff acted quickly, and because they did, I am standing before you tonight. Now, the same hospital that saved my life is at risk of closing. Last Tuesday, the CEO of Providence told our city council that it will not be operating an acute care hospital in Laguna. After San Clemente lost its hospital in 2016, only 3 Rs remain in all of South Orange County. Losing this hospital will be catastrophic for all of our beach communities, for the surrounding towns, and for South Orange County, where more than 500,000 people live. In its place, Providence is proposing an urgent care with outpatient services. We don't need an urgent care. We need an emergency room. And ours is state-of-the-art, thanks to Sue and Bill Gross, who donated $10 million in 2014. Providence is the third largest healthcare system in the United States, with $8 billion in cash reserves. They're building a $1.3 billion expansion in Seattle and pouring $712 million into Mission Viejo and other places. Meanwhile, over the last 17 years, Providence has shut down the maternity ward, the behavioral health unit, the chemical dependency unit, and the gastrointestinal lab in Laguna Beach. It no longer has the ability to offer inpatient dialysis either. Urgent cares are not the same as ERs. They can turn people away if they don't have insurance, require that they be in network, request pre-authorization, and ambulances are not even permitted to deliver patients to an urgent care, only to an emergency room. An urgent care can operate in 20,000 square feet. Laguna Beach's campus is on 22 acres, 8 undeveloped, all of it ocean view, right across the street from the sea. Last year at Providence Laguna Beach, more than 17,275 people came to this ER, and of that, 3,000 patients, like me, received life-saving care that only an ER can provide. For everyone listening tonight, there's something you can do. A petition has been created on change.org under Save Laguna Beach's Hospital Emergency Room. Please sign it. There's also contact information for our leaders, including the California Attorney General's office at change.org. You can also write to Providence Mission Viejo's Board of Directors from their website. Help ensure that the next person facing a life-threatening emergency has the same chance that I did. Please stand with us. Please help us save the emergency room in Laguna Beach. Thank you.
Thank you, Trish. Mr. City Manager, could you check, because I know that when Mission Hospital is full in Mission Viejo, a lot of times emergency patients have been transferred to the Laguna Beach Hospital, I mean, as the first place they go. Could you see if this is like a done deal, or if there's some kind of citizen or government input that could be received? Thank you.
That's all for oral communications. Next item on the agenda is motion waiving reading in full of all resolutions and ordinances.
So moved.
Second by, moved by Mayor Pro Tem Noblock, second by Councilmember Cabral. All in favor? Aye. Pass 5-0.
Consideration of agendizing items requiring immediate action.
Seeing none?
Closed session report, city attorney.
There was no report, there was no closed session.
Staff communications, Cade Boyserank has a staff presentation, and so does Dave Riebensdorf.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Cade Boyserank, IT Manager. I want to pull up a slide to introduce you to our new 311 CRM community input management system. It's called My San Clemente. And this was in conjunction with the development of our new website, but we delayed it a little bit to make sure that we got the workflow right. But if you go to sanclemente.gov/my San Clemente, or even from the homepage, there's a button that says Service Requests. It'll take you to this page, and it's basically a way to report issues throughout the cities that are non-emergency. Potholes, graffiti, broken streetlights, stuff like that. But in conjunction with this, we also were able to create an app, not only in the Android form, but also iOS. And so this is just a slide, but if you go to that portion of the website, you can scroll down and a link to the App Store or to the Apple Store, and you can download the app. And what's cool about the app is it's geocoded to your phone. You can just take a picture of something in the app or from your gallery, find the corresponding category, hit send. It routes it to the appropriate staff member. If you put in information, your own information, it'll give you updates on what the status of that issue is. And then also, actually, go to the next slide if you wouldn't mind, Megan, thank you. And then there's links back to some of our most popular pages, like our beach camera or Tea Times or the trolley information. It's kind of an all-in-one informational product for its main purpose is reporting issues, but then it can link you back to the city's website, and it's super handy. And that's all I really have for now. If you have any questions.
Any questions for Cade?
I have a question.
Sure.
So I take a photo of a pothole. What happens at that point in time?
You can open the app right then and there and enter that photo and hit send, and it will route to the appropriate department and division. It'll have a geocode attached to it, so you don't have to say where it is. Or you could go home, and when you think about it later in the afternoon, you can do the same thing, and you can actually, if the photo should have a geocode, but if it doesn't, you can input the address manually. And then if you want to get notified, you put in your email address and it'll respond to you and let you know what the status is.
You'll give updates as to when
As
it's getting done?
progress, yeah, as it progresses through the repair or whatever it is, the solution, you will get updates.
All right, thank you.
All right?
Quick question.
Yeah.
This looks great. I see it also has trolley information, golf times, all sorts of stuff on this app. Besides tonight, how else are we getting this, the information of this app out to the public, that this app exists?
Well, we actually did a soft launch back in May, and as you can see on the slide here, we've already had 230 issues that have been corrected. And the reason we did that was to sort of like fortify the workflow and make sure that everybody was on board with it and that it was routing properly. Basically tonight, other than tonight, we can put a link on the homepage if we want, or we could do a press release, but this was kind of like the unveiling for the public. It's,
No, that's great. I think it'd be great to put this on our social media page as well as announcement we can download, that people can download, maybe a link to it as well. That'd be fantastic.
yeah, no problem. And like I said, if you just go to sanclemente.gov/my San Clemente, it'll take you right here, and you can just hit the one of the app stores, and it'll be on your device from now on.
Thank you.
All right,
Any other
thank you.
questions? Thanks, Cade.
Thank you.
San Clemente coming into the digital age.
Only 10 years behind.
Yeah.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Dave Riebensdorf, Public Works Director. I do have one slide, just a brief update on some of the damage that occurred at the pier last week.
We're out of the digital age.
Yeah, we're out of the digital age now.
I know. Well, I see it on the screen there, but no one else can see it. Okay, so anyhow, last week we had a significant swell that occurred roughly starting June 8th through the 10th. There was a pretty significant 20-wave set. I got a call from Rod Malott about 2 o'clock in the afternoon on that Monday, and one of the timber piles and lateral braces broke off from the pier as part of that set. And then over the next couple days, the city ended up losing 11 lateral braces, and 4 braces are currently tied off to the pier. We did have a marine safety structural engineer come out and assess the pier on Friday, and they determined that the braces should be replaced prior to November, prior to the winter swells, and staff is working with CGPIA to turn this into the city's insurance, and the rough estimated cost is about $500,000 in damage. So with that, I'll answer any questions the council might have.
Yeah, was it just the lateral braces? I thought one of the piling, what do they call pylons, pilings?
Yeah, one of the wood piles also failed, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that was in that initial surge of the 20-wave set on Monday. We
And-
lost a
and-
pile and one brace.
And do we expect any more trouble with the king tides coming in tomorrow?
Depends on swells and tides. We're hoping we don't lose any more, but yeah, we'll wait and see what happens. But the big concern that the structural engineer has is more from the winter swells on that north side of the pier, where a lot of those lateral braces are
But
were
with
removed.
the 4th of July coming up and all the people on the pier for the fireworks, they can be assured that things are safe and they've been inspected and everything's going to be good.
Yeah, everything's good. There's one area where that pile was lost that we don't want truck or heavy vehicle traffic in that area. Other than that, it's fine for pedestrian use.
All right, thank
This
you.
project include not only repairing the 23 or whatever that left, but also checking to make sure that the others are retro fitted or something to keep them from coming off in the future?
So the council did approve as part of next year's budget a structural assessment. So there's several $100,000 or more in structural assessment, and then also some basic work to the pier too. So that will start early next fiscal year. We'll get the RFP out here soon and start that as soon as possible.
Was there any damage at all done to any of the structures on the beach itself?
I am not aware of any damage to the structures. I hadn't heard of anything.
Could you say that maybe that, as opposed to south of our city, where the train lines are, where some of those revetments are going down, that possibly that's because there's more sand in those areas, and that is help protect those structural, that infrastructure and structures from damage?
I'm not an expert on the sand, but from what I saw, it looks like the areas where we did deposit sand, a lot of that sand remained. I expected more loss from that swell last week, so I was kind of surprised to see a fair amount of that sand remained, and so I think that certainly helps.
Great, thank you.
Dave, with all the movement of the pier, I was down there this morning and there were a number of nails that were beginning to sort of vibrate and come up. Do we have regular service to make sure those are, the risk of injured toes and feet and trips is mitigated?
Yes, Beaches, Parks and Rec, maintenance team is out there on a weekly basis, and anytime they see anything or see click fix, if you see something there, let staff know and they'll respond, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else? Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to public hearings. The public hearing process includes a staff presentation, a presentation by the applicant not to exceed 10 minutes, and public testimony not to exceed 3 minutes per speaker. Following closure of the public hearing, the city council will respond to questions raised during the hearing, discuss the issues, and act upon the matter by motion. And the first public hearing that we have is appeal of the denial of an administrative encroachment permit for a wall in the right-of-way located at 1202 Avenida de la Estrella, and findings under the California Environmental Quality Act.
Okay, before we open the public hearing, is there anybody in the audience that wishes to speak on item 8A that hasn't turned in a speaker card yet? Okay, we'll open the public hearing. So do you have anybody here that needs to make an ex parte disclosure? I'll make one. There's nothing to prohibit me from hearing this. I can be fair and impartial, but I do have a social relationship with the attorney representing the appellate, Mr. Snyder. We have several mutual friends and have run into each other at social gatherings because he's involved in the chamber as I am, but there would be nothing here that would keep me from being fair and impartial.
Nothing to report.
Nothing to report on this.
Okay, Madam Clerk, was anything received since the item was agendized? Any other information?
No.
Okay, with that, we'll turn it over to staff.
Good evening, council members. My name is Zach Ponson. I'm your Assistant City Engineer with Dave Riebensdorf, your Public Works Director / City Engineer. Tonight in front of you, I'll be pretty quick with the presentation. We have an appeal that came from our denial of an administrative encroachment permit for a wall and some steps within the public right-of-way. So the subject property is a corner lot located at 1202 Avenida de la Estrella and cross street with La Placenta, or Placentia. What we have in front of you, basically my slides are a lot of pictures of what it was before and what it is today. So what you have here is a picture of what it was like, potentially as far back as the 1950s when the house was built. There was a small retaining wall built by the property owner with, at some point, a fence added onto it and some columns. That was built with no record of any permits on city file. And it is, the right-of-way in both these streets is about 5 feet back from the curb face. The walls themselves are built about 2 feet 4 inches from the curb face. So they're about halfway into the right-of-way. Next slide, please. Recently, we did get a code complaint from one of our residents that from this view coming on the side street, the wall itself, even the pre-existing wall, kind of created a line of sight issue. And so when you see all those columns lined up a little bit on the far side, it still acts as a wall. And so this was the pre-existing condition, and this is a Google view for the camera on top of the car is pretty high up. But this is what it was prior to our public complaint and the recent modifications to the wall. Next slide. Pre-existing also had a gate along De La Estrella that swung out into the right-of-way and some drainage that actually drained onto the public walkway out there. Next slide, please. Staff, recently the wall has been modified to fill in those gaps between the columns. This wall is now anywhere from 60 inches to slightly over 6 feet high. It also has, it's along both frontages at that same distance of about 2 feet 4 inches into the right-of-way. This is what resulted in that public complaint of vehicles not being able to see coming at that intersection. When we went out for a site investigation, next slide, please, you can see the line of sight is definitely in violation of our county standard. The filling in of the wall made it a lot worse. Staff's of the opinion, even the pre-existing wall though, all those columns line up from that angle actually serve as almost a wall also. So the pre-existing wall and the current wall, we believe, both posed a line of sight issue. Next slide, please. The gate's been modified into a solid wood fence and some light sconces have been added. Those are kind of rated about directly at head height actual. So we've included those in the request for any permitting, that all these things would get permitting. The applicant had submitted an application per our code. You can submit for permits for these things. The recommendation by the staff to this Public Works Director was to deny it. The Public Works Director and City Engineer has officially denied that application, and the applicant has appealed it. Per our code, you can appeal this Public Works Director's decision to City Council. City staff is recommending removal of the wall, placing it back to that 5 foot, or remove the wall and you can grade the property down to a slope condition where they don't even need to put in a wall to replace it. The staff received an appeal letter that was included with the application. I'll let the applicant speak to their reasoning for it, but it's generally, they believe it's an undue burden, it's a privacy issue, and I'll let them get into more of their reasonings. Next slide, please. I don't know if I have too many more. The drainage is still existing onto the sidewalk. The other frontage still has that height wall issue. Now, one of the other reasons why staff denied it was the Planning Department zoning code specifically does not allow walls above 42 inches in the front setback. That front 20 feet on Estrella is not supposed to have walls higher than 42 inches. The front 10 feet from the curb face on the side street is not supposed to be higher than 42 inches also. So technically, the planning department would need to go to a planning hearing to allow any wall higher than this. But since it was a line of sight issue, engineering wouldn't recommend that, and so the quicker, easier process was for us just to recommend denial rather than have somebody go through a whole zoning hearing. And so with that, staff's here with any recommendations and questions.
Questions for staff? I just got a, oh, go ahead.
It looks like the sidewalk there is pretty narrow, right? Is that a sidewalk? Is that a public sidewalk?
It doesn't meet any state or federal codes. It's about 2 feet 4 inches wide. So it's technically, to meet state and federal codes, we require a 4-foot wide sidewalk. So right now, what you have is something that maybe some people walk on. I walked it just to see how it felt and stuff.
Could a wheelchair?
A wheelchair cannot fit on it, no.
Stroller?
Or anybody with a walker or a stroller or anything like that could not fit on that.
Okay, all right.
That was already encroached upon 1950s or 60s. Right?
Correct.
So the rest of the sidewalk, say if you go around that corner and turn right and keep walking on the street, and once you're past the applicant's property, does it turn into wide sidewalks?
We did look at the rest of the block, and so to the block, I do have one photo I think Dave can maybe, so this is the house just to the west. They do have a small wall also out that same distance to the right of their garage, but everything to the left of that actually has pretty close to a 4-foot wide sidewalk, the whole rest of the block. And so with the exception of the one neighbor, most everybody else is fairly compliant. East of this house, in the intersection, there actually is 4-foot sidewalk the whole way, all the way up to El Portal.
Okay, and with the first photo you showed, without counting the railing, how tall was the wall at that time, not counting the columns or the railing?
Hard to guess, but it'd probably be just under 6 feet. Not counting the railing.
Go to the first photo.
So you're looking at anywhere from 30 inches to probably 3 feet high. It had it had stepped grades in it, and then obviously the columns brought it up closer towards 6 feet.
Okay, and this new wall, the old wall wasn't abated in a new wall. I guess they knocked off the bricks and just raised it?
That's what we believe, yeah.
Okay.
Is there any ADA issues or access issues that would cause the city to have liability by having a shorter, smaller, narrower sidewalk?
I mean, ultimately, it's not compliant to today's standards, so.
Potential liability issue if someone's in the street when they should have been on the sidewalk?
That could, I'm not an attorney, but I believe that could open us up, yes.
And with the 65 years of use with a narrow sidewalk, has there been, to your knowledge, been any claims or damages there in the last 65 years?
Not that I know of, and no known complaints of line of sight even before, even though I personally believe it was probably still a line of sight issue. It wasn't as obvious, but those columns, kind of the way you line up as you approach perpendicular to a set of trees or columns, they end up acting like a wall.
Any other questions of Zach and Dave? I guess the appellate has opportunity to give 10 minutes for.
Yes. Spencer Schneider?
Good evening. My name is Spencer Schneider. I'm appearing with and on behalf of Mr. Daniel Roberts, the owner of 1202 Avenida de la Estrella. We have submitted a detailed written appeal addressing each of the denial issues that were raised in the denial letter that we received on March 26th. That brings me to an issue with notice that I want to raise. This has been going on for over a year. Mr. Roberts has filed applications, and now this appeal. And yesterday, this new agenda report from Public Works was supplied to us that raises new issues that we haven't seen before, numerous issues. So with that, I'd ask that either the city council make their decision based on the original denial letter and our response to that, and none of these new issues that we haven't had the opportunity to respond to yet, or move this hearing 60 days so Mr. Roberts has the chance to look through those new grounds for denial, provide responses to those new grounds, potentially hire an expert or an engineer to evaluate that. We really just have not had time to evaluate it since yesterday was the first day we received this report. With that, I'll stop talking and ask the council how they'd like to proceed on this.
What's the appellate's pleasure on this? To keep it over for 60 days for you to analyze this, or to hope that the city council can look at it and disregard whatever they've read about it?
If the city council has already read the agenda report, we'd prefer to push this out 60 days so we have a chance to respond to those new issues that were raised.
Well, I'd like to know what the new allegations are.
Yes, so there's about 5 pages in this report, but they include the lights, the drainage, allegations that the prior wall was also out of compliance with line of sight. Those are the ones I have off the top of my head right now.
And those weren't in the previous report?
Those were not in the previous denial. We have a 1-page denial from March 26th that lists the site distance and height restriction. And I am prepared to address those today if the council would like to hear those.
It would seem to me, I mean, if this is your request, that it would be fair to give you the chance to address those, and so we don't put you in a position where, because even if you just address a few that had been raised earlier, we could come back and address the other ones in a separate hearing. I would rather just do it all at once, give you the chance and the opportunity to address them all at once, if that's my thinking.
I'm gonna close the public hearing. So
I will, based on.
Oh, there's a speaker.
Mayor, you have one more speaker, and also I would suggest you keep the public hearing open or reopen it if you're going to do a continuance.
If we have a public comment, yeah. So I'll reopen the public hearing, answer the public comment.
So just so procedurally, we have to listen to the people that have put a card in before we, and then we can address all these issues.
So who's?
And we'll give you any time that you may have lost.
Lynn Brongo?
Okay, good afternoon, council. I'm here to address this issue. I've been a resident here in San Clemente and lived on La Placencia for 41 years. So when the wall was modified, that to me became an issue because it does block your line of sight. I've lived on that street for 40 years. It was never a problem when they had the wrought iron in there, and I know the homeowners that used to live there. I drive that every day. It was never an issue. But when they modified the wall, it became an issue for both me and my wife. I drive it every day, and if there's a car parked there on the corner, you have to get out that much further on the oncoming traffic, excuse me, to see if there's any oncoming traffic. So the wall in its previous state was fine. It never bothered me. It never had an incident. But now when they modified the wall, and you could see by the photo, it does block your line of sight, and it is dangerous. Both my wife and I both had a couple of close calls there. And, the way that people are driving nowadays, it's, and the kids on the bikes and stuff like that, it's a dangerous situation the way it is in the current state. So.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments. No further comments?
No.
I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing.
I would move to delay this for, I guess, 60 days as requested by the appellant, and bring this back, give them an opportunity to fully address the issues that have been raised by the city. City, did you have any comment before we? No.
I mean,
Mr.
ultimately,
Mayor,
yeah,
if-
yeah, this is just deliberation. I guess we
Yeah,
have
okay.
had our opportunity, so.
You can reopen the public hearing if you'd like to talk to
Yeah,
staff.
No, I'm fine, I'll make that motion.
I'll second the
You have a motion by Mr. Cabral to continue this for,
Just one point of clarification. Would you like to include reopening the public hearing to
Yes.
continue it? And do you want to schedule that for a council meeting, or do you want it to be 60 days?
No, schedule it for the council meet, do we have a date for that?
August
council meet?
18th would be the
Does
closest
that
council
give
meeting.
us 60
yes.
days?
Yes.
And, yeah, continue a public hearing on that date then, August
18th.
18th? Yeah.
motion by Mr. Cabral, second by Mayor Pro Tem Noblock. All in favor?
Can we talk about it, the motion?
Sure.
We just voted 4-0.
Well, we haven't quite voted yet. Go ahead.
We have a
Zen.
motion on the floor.
Zen, speak, absolutely.
I want to make a comment about it. On the drainage issue and lighting fixture are very minor and is not a deciding factor of the staff recommendation. The sight line, the existing condition, the sight line violation is pretty straightforward for me. If you look, because the car has to stop about 10 feet behind the curb line, behind the extension of the curb. From that point, you look toward the Estrella, the row of the pile block the sight line. That's pretty straightforward. I don't see a lot of things to be debated about it. I think I think we have enough evidence, and we can make a decision today.
Okay, for me, actually, the drainage is an issue, because yes, there could be, we could decide to abate it, we could make a recommendation that it's modified also. That could be, it's possible to do that. So I'd kind of like to hear, or give them the opportunity to address the curb cut or the whatever drainage they want to do also. That's my feelings. Like I say, we have options on this. It doesn't have to be either it stays or it goes. We do have other options. So I'd like to give the appellate personally a chance to address everything he can possibly address before we adjudicate it. Does that seem fair?
Sure.
Okay, so with that, we've had the motion and the second. All in favor of continuing this for 60 days?
To date certain.
Date certain, is that the second meeting in August?
August 18th.
August 18th, continue this August 18th. All in favor?
Aye again.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is public hearing regarding the adoption of the City of San Clemente Urban Water Management Plan and Water Shortage Contingency Plan, and finding both plans statutorily exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act.
Do we have any comment cards on this one, just out of curiosity?
We do not.
You do not. Open the public hearing. Okay, anybody have any ex parte disclosures to make? And there's any information that's come in since the item was agendized, that being Mr. Ravensdorf.
I have a very brief presentation that I can provide to the council and public if that's the council's direction.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to thank a couple of the team members that worked on this the most. Dustin Burnside, Utilities Manager, Ray Patoja, Water Conservation Analyst, and Inga Wiesma. This Urban Water Management Plan is a requirement by the state. It started back in the 1980s. It's required every 5 years. I'll just hit some of the brief highlights. The city's water use projections are about 8,000 acre-feet per year. And in 2025, one of the requirements is to provide how much water the city is anticipating it's going to use by 2050. Staff or the report anticipates that about a 0.2% or 0.02% reduction is estimated by 2050. I will mention that approximately 15, almost 20 years ago, the city's water use was about 1,300 or 13,000 acre-feet per year. So with a couple droughts and water conservation, we've seen a significant water reduction here in the city, along with countywide as well and statewide. One of the other reporting measures is that it was mandated in 2009. It was a 20% reduction by 2020. Just to let the council know, our residents are doing an excellent job in meeting that target. Our target was 153 gallons per capita per day, and in 2020, we were at 124, so we're well exceeding that requirement. Just briefly on our water use supply portfolio, the city is mostly reliant on imported water from Metropolitan Water District. We have about 500 acre feet from their city wells. They're currently offline, but anticipated to come back in 2028. And then we have about 1,100 acre feet per year from recycled water. So those are kind of the big highlights of the plan, and staff is here to answer any questions that the council has.
And any questions for Dave?
You know, we've all been thoroughly briefed by him, so I'm prepared to move it if everybody else is.
Any questions, Zen? Any questions? Close the public hearing.
I'd like to move the agenda item.
Second.
Okay, it's moved by Councilmember Cabral, second by Councilmember Meyer. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Next item on the agenda, consideration of a resolution to accept and file notice of completion for the emergency slope stabilization repairs at Casa Romantica, CIP project number 23502, approving supplemental appropriations in the amount of $3,370,602 to account number 001-481-43470-000-23502, and authorizing the city manager to approve a contract amendment for additional work in the amount of $3,310,602 and potential city council direction on Phase 2B.
Oh, sorry, excuse me. Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. Sean Ryan, Deputy Public Works Director, here to present on a notice of completion for Phase 1 and council direction for Phase 2. I'm presenting a multifaceted report seeking additional funding and a notice of file a notice of completion for the Phase 1 slope repair at Casa Romantica. We're also seeking direction for what we're calling Phase 2, which includes improvements related to the grounds at Casa Romantica. So we had a slide back in April, I don't know if it's exactly April 28th, but April of 2023, and we lost an incredible amount of soil down towards the tracks. These photos show the damage that was taken by Reefgate, which is the property to the north from the slide. This is an effort from the initial slide to regrade Casa Romantica to get it to a sort of a steady state so that they could do more investigations to see what we're really up against. And unfortunately, not too long after that, days after it was completed, actually I think it was just about a day after it was completed, that effort to get it to a steady state, it failed it failed again. So these are the efforts. So in August, so this was in June, in August, we hired a contractor to rebuild Casa Romantica slope. And this was the design that the geotechnical engineer came up with to install grade beams. There's 4 rows of grade beams that were installed, and there was geogrid so we have grade beams, tiebacks, and geogrid for the repair. These are just some photos of the efforts during construction. You can see to the right, there's some water shown there. The site had an amazing amount of water coming out of the slope, and it was just non-stop flow. So there were some real challenges with that. This shows the efforts to install a geogrid and bring it back up to grade. This is nearing completion. And here is a photograph of the slope completed with a hydro seed mix and fiber rolls. And so the city has submitted claims to California Joint Power, our insurance company, CJPA IA and is working closely with them regarding coverage for items as drainage, sewage, slope protection. And as noted in the staff report, we're looking at a potential reimbursement of $1.5 million for those efforts. For the second phase, we're looking for council direction to provide us, there's two phases. Phase 2 is kind of broken into two parts. One is related to drainage, and the second phase, or phase 2B, would be related to the improvements on the Casa grounds. For phase 2A, it's related to the drainage efforts to protect the tracks down at the toe slope. And staff is also working with also our insurance company and OCT on this effort. And once we hear from CJPEIA on the coverage, staff will return for direction on that effort for the drainage. As it relates to phase 2B, so is this not working? Sorry. Okay, there we go. Phase 2B is related to the improvements on the Casa grounds. This includes items such as drainage, landscaping, hardscape, the amphitheater, parking lot, irrigation, and the structure itself. Sorry, thank you. So these are some current photos of Casa Romantica since the slope has been completed. Here we're looking northwesterly towards the Reef Gate property, and to the left we're looking at the it's called the I think Storybook area and the pier. Oops, sorry. Let's go back up one more here. Yes. Okay, so this is a view of the amphitheater. On the left, you're looking up towards the amphitheater. And on the right-hand side, you're looking down towards the amphitheater, where in the middle of the right photo, that's where the stage was previously, and that stage was removed so that the construction vehicles could get down to the slope and perform their efforts. These are more photographs of the current state of Casa Romantica. On the right is the pathway to the front parking lot, which leads to, and then looking behind that photograph would be the amphitheater. So we're looking for direction on a couple things here. We're looking at to repair Casa Romantica in a like-for-like condition, or do we accept the insurance reimbursement at what it's currently at is $2.5 million is what they've valued the repairs for a like-for-like condition. Just a couple of notes on that. The like-for-like is not, without hearing from Coastal Commission, it's never, we don't know if it's exactly like-for-like. We still have to go through Coastal Commission and see what they're going to approve in putting back a like-for-like condition. The $2.5 million is to put back, like I said, like-for-like, but it's really unknown is it really $2.5 million? We're not 100% sure until we actually were to get underway and get on construction and see what sort of damage has been done to the structure, or what we might find when we're excavating and doing some of the repairs to the parking lot and so forth. But at this time, their assessor has gone out and they've valued it at $2.5 million. Council also has the option to accept the $2.5 million reimbursement as a final payout for as well. So with that, I'll look for council's direction on this. And then I just want to show one last photograph so you can kind of see. So this was the state of Casa Romantica before the slide, and you can kind of see all of the decking and the amphitheater and all the improvements that would in an effort to do a like-for-like, it would be something similar to the photograph you're seeing, assuming Coastal would let all that go back.
Just a couple brief clarifications. On the like-for-like, if the council was to choose that option and have the insurance company just go ahead and pay for whatever the like-for-like is, if the cost is over 2.5 million, the insurance would pay for those additional costs. And then if the city council were to decide to take the 2.5 million and do a lesser project, the city council would also have that option as well, so.
Let's leave this photo up while we're having discussion. Questions?
Yeah, I thought I understood this completely, but I'm actually a little bit more confused now about where we're at. Part one is payment of the contractor, as I understand it. That is, we owe, we invested, what, $8 million of city money to make sure that structure would never move. And so we have an $8 million investment in there, and we haven't paid it completely yet. And we're waiting for insurance money for part of that, as I understand it. Is that right? Am I?
It's the 8 million plus additional work that was required to complete the project. And so that's what we're waiting for, is that additional funding, or we were waiting for additional funding to come in for insurance, but the contractor's been patient. So
How much have we paid the contractor?
We paid the contractor the original agreed contract price, which was $7,760,800.
And how much do we owe the contractor?
Approximately 3.3 million.
Addition to that.
That's correct.
7. So it's going to cost us 10. So we've actually put a lot of money into this already, more than I ever thought, and more than I thought we approved. But I hope they're happy about the $10 million that we've invested in this building. The second part, 2A, is money that we expect to get from the insurance company and have not received yet?
It's plausible. Working with CJPIA, they have requested documentation from OCTA with their requirement for these drainage devices. And so staff has provided that, and from our conversations so far, it sounds like it's plausible that they will cover those drainage items.
And how much is that?
It's approximately 1.35 million.
Okay. And then 2B is money that the 2.5 million that we have. It's really fungible money. It's money that would return to the city, and we can spend it. I mean, if we wanted to do a project on the pier, put the pilings, or if we wanted to do an amphitheater somewhere else in town, that's money. We've already spent more than we thought on that. We could take that money and spend it however we want, right?
The 2.5 million, yes, but not the 1.3 million.
Okay.
That's something separate.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I got it clarified. Okay. I just want to make, I want to make certain that the 2.5 can be spent. I mean, if we have a lot of needs in this city, and we're looking at projects in North Beach. We're looking at amphitheater. I don't think this is the right place for an amphitheater, but that's just my view. But and I don't know how anyone else feels. We've got sand projects. We've got a lot of problems in this city. So those are my questions.
If I could we go back to the photo of what the project looks like today with the where the patio was? Go back another one.
Like I think it was like an
Yeah, there it is. That's what, the area that's graded, I can't see how far out that is, and I haven't been out there lately to look at the footprint. Is the area that's now a flat dirt, is that approximately, does it go out approximately where the cement patio used to be?
Could you ask me that?
I guess I'm trying to mentally compare where the sidewalk was, where the cement patio was before the slide, and where it's improved today with that dirt area that we're looking at. Is that area roughly the same?
The area, the dirt area is not exactly the same.
Is it larger, smaller?
It's smaller because it rolled off previously. Now it's more
Okay, so what do you say, it's
it's
20%, 30, 50% less?
I'd say maybe 10% less, but.
Okay, so slightly less than what it was.
Yeah.
And if that was to be rebuilt, you'd need coastal commission approval for anything that's there? Patio, decomposed granite?
Oh, yeah. In terms of, let me correct what I said. In terms of the decking itself, you could put the same size patio now that was there previously.
Same size?
The same size patio. The dirt area is a little bit smaller, but the patio area could be the same.
Okay,
But it also requires coastal commission approval.
right. Either way, whether it's
Correct.
left dirt, put decomposed granite as the driveway is, and historically, the way the whole area was when Ole Hansen built it.
Correct.
Versus the putting in a cement patio. Okay, that's my only question.
Questions? Yeah, I'm looking at the picture. It's page 6 of 10 on the staff report. There's a photo of what the Casa looked like. It was an overhead view. Do we have the ability to put that up?
Probably the last slide shows it the best with the aerial.
Okay,
This
yeah,
one here,
there. Okay, so we saw the dirt, and to replace that patio, just the way it is, you have an estimate cost of that? Forget the amphitheater part, but just to replace the patio, do we have any idea what that would really cost?
I would estimate for $300,000 or $400,000 just for the decking itself.
Just to replace deck, okay.
There are also some other structural issues there. You have the staircase, some of those planters have kind of pulled away, so there's some other things that have to be worked on around, or at least evaluated.
And the way it is now, if you just left it now, though, and just kind of cleaned it up, is there an ADA issue with that? That there's no way to make that ADA compliant, right, the way it is?
Not without adding additional paving out there, yeah.
Okay, so to make it ADA compliant, we'd have to do something with that patio and staircase, okay.
Yes.
Sure.
You could put where that dirt is, you could put a garden in there, right? I mean, have we looked at that, putting, or
could.
directing them to put, expand their garden?
Grass or something?
Or just, flowers and,
Yeah, it's soil, so yeah, you
yeah.
can pretty much do whatever.
And I do remember being out there early on when the building started settling and falling in, that the staircase was one of the first places to crack open. So I'm sure it's still not settled completely and still might need to be either fixed or removed.
Potentially, I mean, that, I'll say that slope will be the last slope standing in this town.
Yeah.
The slope is pretty sturdy, but you're right, there could be there is some potential work needed to shore up those stairs and what have you.
I get a question here. In terms of the 2.5 million, the like for like on that, that is, just to clarify, making it as close to what this was before.
Correct.
And is there an estimation that it would actually be more than 2.5 million?
By my estimation, I think it could be. I don't know exactly what that number looks like, but based on my experience out at the site and working on projects, it's especially something like this. You just until you start to unearth things and structurally, until you really start to get into there was a lot of movement up there, and so until you really get into it, you just don't know the extent of the damage.
And if there is more than that, then the insurance company will pay.
They will pay
what
for
goes
it.
over the 2.5.
Correct.
If we were to take that 2.5 instead, we would have more direction over exactly what is put in place. But even then, there's potential that like, say we don't do the amphitheater, but we do the other things that are needed. Is there potential then that it would be more than 2.5 or close to 2.5?
That's a hard question to answer. I'm not, if you're saying if we did all the improvements less the amphitheater, would it be somewhere around 2.5 million for all those repairs? Possibly. It's possible.
Yeah.
I heard a number for the amphitheater, about $400,000 to repair the amphitheater, so roughly 2.1 for the patio and the other structural improvements and landscaping.
Assuming that there's not added costs on top of it that maybe we're not aware of yet.
Correct.
But otherwise, it's just, now, is there, I think what I'm hearing from my council members, they're concerned with the amphitheater itself. Is there a possibility with working with the insurance agency and saying like for like, except for the amphitheater?
I don't know if that's possible.
Okay.
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
I can certainly find out and get back to you guys.
Yeah, just a quick question. So interesting concept of doing, because, I mean, the patio is nice, that's where people go in and get married, but if it were grass, they could go down there and get married. Or, whatever. And the ADA issue, you've got this zigzag thing going back and forth, but what if you just restored the path that's the farthest most down the hill to where if you're inside and you need ADA access, you could come all the way around the edge and you could get to that grass area. The inside of the building is accessible from the front. You don't necessarily need to zigzag back and forth to get back inside the main building, do you? You just have to have access to the patio area or access to the building. So, you know what I'm saying, kind of?
I do understand. Yeah, so the amphitheater creates a need for ADA access from the amphitheater. So if the amphitheater exists and there's somebody that would like to go out onto the deck, they would need to have access.
Okay, so if we didn't have the amphitheater, you could just go around the outside of the building all the way to whether it's grass or patio or whatever, and you're there. If you need to go to the upstairs part, there's already access to that. You don't have to go from the patio, zigzag into the building. You could go back down the side and back into the building. That would suffice for the ADA, wouldn't it?
Are you talking about, which side of the building are you?
Excuse me, Sean, I think he's talking about an ADA path of travel from the patio into the building. You can go around the side entrance. There you go.
If you needed to get here, you can come all the way around here and get there. You don't need to have access to go into that from here. You can go all the way back in here inside the building. You just need access. You don't need immediate access. So why does this?
Well, there's no access to the building from that.
Down here, you
There
can't
isn't
get back into the
access.
building?
There's a stairwell.
There's a stairwell to the next level.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so this isn't flat, there's stairs.
Correct.
Stairs right there.
Correct.
Okay, all right, I get it.
Yeah, it looked like a smooth access.
Yeah, so currently the only access to that deck is through the building itself.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah,
before we go-
I have a question. I guess I'm wondering why you've got lumped together the landscape, the hardscape, and the Casa repair structure at 2.5. I guess I'm a little bit disappointed that you've lumped three major cost items into one lump. And I'm just wondering what the breakdown was. I've heard an estimate of 400,000 possibly, which leads me to my next question, which is, who is JPIA recommending the 2.5? And is that based on their analysis?
Yes.
Do we have an independent analysis from our own experts to say what their thought is on the construction costs?
Other than myself, in my experience, to say that it's probably more than $2.5 million.
I would kind of agree with you. And my experience in my lifetime of dealing with insurance companies is when they give you a number and you get your own number, it's a whole lot higher than the insurance company's number. I'm just wondering,
But
you
I have
know,
not.
to accept that number now, when it could be higher, unless we reallocate the money, which is a real possibility.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on, and I guess what I'm asking is JPI finished, locked with their numbers, or if we got back to them and said, look, with the 2.5 isn't going to get the job done, it needs to be a bigger number? Or are they going to say, you're out of here?
No, They've been very helpful and very willing to sit down at the table and negotiate and talk about numbers. And if something else needed to be added, I've made several additions. I don't know if initially the offer was, I think, around 1.6 million. We got that cost estimate and so we said, no, that's wrong, and so we added some things and they've been willing to add those, add more to the cost.
Just let me say, Mr. Mayor, that I kind of like the idea of, we've spent a lot of money on this structure. We've got a roof that needs to be repaired, some other things that are being done. We're bearing the laboring war on this project, which is enjoyed not by the city, but by a nonprofit. And I guess what I'm thinking is that we've got some other really pressing items in town, and that those resources may be money's fungible, and there may be some other more important uses at this point in time.
Zen?
Yeah, Sean, thank you for the tremendous work you and Dave have done on this project. Right now, the amphitheaters, the stage is gone, but the terrace is partially still there, are they?
Yes.
So if the council decided not to rebuild the stage, what are we going to do with the rest of the amphitheater?
That's a great question, because it is a big structure. If it would have to, it could either be removed or find another use for that space with that sort of seating arrangement. But it is a big structure, and it would take some effort to pull that out. It's a big chunk of concrete.
It would be expensive to remove, I would think.
Be very expensive.
Okay. It's going to be very expensive.
Yeah.
Okay. And well, the best use is the amphitheater, the previous use. We thought this project cost about $8 million. If we add everything here, it's $15 million in total, all of them. 11.1 million for what has been done, and 3.85 million for what's about to happen. Some of them will be covered by the insurance, but the $2.5 million, I would agree that it's almost always a lowball offer. Mm-hmm. If we were to do it ourselves, it wouldn't surprise me to cost us $4 million or more. Ryan, do you have a car?
Do I have a car?
Uh-huh.
Actually, my car is just like your car.
So, thank you.
You need to buy a car, Zen?
No, I don't.
Yes, I have a car, yeah.
Let's say something happened to your car, you crash your car, and you would repair, in the old times, not EV, you would repair the radiator, you would repair the engine. Would you leave the bumper out? Just continue to drive it?
No, absolutely not.
We have spent so much money to rebuild a rock solid foundation, but that doesn't make sense to forego the amenities built on this foundation. I think not. What's your thought?
Well, I'm here to receive direction from council on that idea.
I've got
That's my thought.
I've got a question. So let's say we're thinking about just taking the money. But we've looked at it, and if we've got maybe an independent person to look at it and say, no, the work that you need to do there is like $5 million. Could we ask the insurance company for the amount that we think we need to rebuild this, and then we figure out what we're going to do?
If we can defend whatever that cost is, that they will come to the table. If the cost is really that cost.
Yeah, I think that's what we have to.
Wait, one second for Victor. Andy, I think you wanted to.
I wanted to clarify your question a little bit. So I want to make clear what I think the insurance company has offered to us. If we don't want to make the improvements, they will submit a check to the city for $2.5 million. If we want to make the surface improvements, they'll pay whatever that costs. We hire a contract, we do the work, and they pay whatever that cost is. There's not a ceiling on that. If we take the money, they'll
There's a
That's what
ceiling.
they're offering, yes.
Two
I
and-
just wanted to clarify.
Okay, thank
that
you.
was the question you
That
asked.
was the question.
What we don't have is an independent analysis.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
that's
I-
right. That is right.
I probably disagree with you because I think it's a negotiation
Well-
over what that amount would be.
At the current, that's
At
right,
the
at the
current
current
level.
offer.
And I think, because you don't even know whether you can get it approved. You still have to go to the Coastal Commission, which has traditionally said, no, if it falls, it breaks, it's gone, and you don't get to fix it. So I think the way we have to look at it is we have to start with, let's negotiate all that we can get with insurance company. Whatever that dollar amount, it's got to be more than 2.5, I think, if you looked at all the thing. But I think there's things that can be done less than that. Let's say we can get 4 million. Then we spend that, a small amount of that money to put the garden there where the cement used to be. I went there this past weekend to look where the amphitheater used to be. It's pretty level at the bottom. You can still have, it's not going to be an amphitheater. It's just not the right place for an amphitheater, but there is still seating there that you don't have to remove. You could still have a little small venue there where you have 3 rows of seats, and down below you have a little garden where people could speak, or you could do a presentation, or you could have a quartet, whatever. But you take the majority of the money and then figure out where you invest it with the whole list of projects that we want. So I would think that is a pretty reasonable way to approach it.
Just I just want to weigh in just a little bit and just say, I think JPIA's done a.
Wait, hey,
good.
now we have public comments?
Yeah.
Let me finish my,
Well, now that we have a comment, we
It's
better.
really directing a comment that directs staff, and that is, I think JPIA is acting in good faith. We've kind of pressed them on issues. I'm on the board, and I was kind of harassing them recently on where's your, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing to help us out? So they're acting in good faith. But I think in our good faith and I think before we think about using the money for other things, I think we ought to, in good faith, also get an independent review of the prospect of completing based on our dime, not theirs. And I appreciate the fact that they're acting in good faith and giving us a number like we asked for. But I think it's incumbent on us to do a little bit of the next step and get our own analysis, as the mayor suggested, and look at that number, and recognizing that we're not trying to take advantage of JPI, appreciate what they're doing and their offer, but I just think we need to take the next step and make sure we're good, because this has turned out to be an incredibly expensive project, and I don't want to be under the
Yeah,
under the
but
gun in the
before we
future.
complete our deliberation here, we should hear from the public. We have a public speaker, so.
I'll call the first few speakers. Amanda Quintanilla, followed by Linda Williams, followed by Larry Culbertson.
Thank you for keeping that picture up. I'm very supportive of just keeping, restoring the amphitheater like for like. And thank you for the city manager for basically stating it very briefly and concise that the $2.5 million is basically a minimum, and that the CGPIA is negotiable on the increase of fees and whatnot. I really appreciate also the council member mentioned getting an estimate of repairs for the amphitheater, because at that point, we don't know how much we're spending and what actually it is. But there was ADA access to the amphitheater, so I don't understand what the other ADA access you're asking about. So that's where I'm just kind of concerned about. But I think it's very important. I think Councilmember Noblock had mentioned that, when looking at how you're doing the estimate, they were all lumped together, but one of the things that I looked at was the drainage, the fees for that. Potential was at $533,602, potential insurance of $900,000. But I guess there was a total of 1.3 though. So I'm just kind of wondering about the math on that. However, going back to 1993 and the storm damage from there was sinkholes at Casa Romantica that were greater than 6 feet tall, and there were several sinkholes there. And so I don't understand why now you're thinking about drainage when there's been a drainage problem for a long time. As a member of the garden club, I would go and help out at Casa Romantica, and anytime there was rain, there was the drain there, and there was basically kind of a makeshift hose that emptied water to, I'm really concerned about that, but I think we need to restore like for like, and I think that would really be important to do to keep it intact and move forward, and thank you.
Thank you, Amanda.
Linda Williams, followed by Larry Culbertson.
Hi, I'm speaking as a volunteer and member of Casa. I volunteered this afternoon, I also volunteered on Sunday, and the Casa Romantica isn't for the benefit of a nonprofit. It's for the benefit of the city of San Clemente. It is the jewel of San Clemente. Today, we had visitors from Utah, Colorado, Texas, and Washington come, and they came to Casa Romantica to view that jewel of Casa Romantica. Sunday, we had visitors from France visiting, and we get a ton of visitors all over South Orange County. I always laugh when I ask them, I said, oh, where are you visiting us from? And they say Orange County. I said, oh, you're still in Orange County. We get a lot of people. This is a jewel. It's not something that, it's only benefits the nonprofit that's there. We're very fortunate to have a nonprofit with over 140 volunteers that are willing to keep that place looking like the jewel that it is. And I agree with you, Zen, that we should fix it all the way and not leave the bumper off. I'm just a little surprised. I want to do like for like, and I want to hurry up and finish that up. And I don't want a grass or a garden back there where the patio is. I mean, that is one of the ways that we can be self-supporting, is to have weddings back there. You can't have a wedding if you have your ladies wearing their high heels trying to walk in grass. That's just not going to work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Linda.
Larry Culbertson, followed by Donna Vadrine, followed by Jackie Grosseth.
Yeah. Good evening, Council. Larry Culbertson. My wife Jane and I were working as greeters at the Casa the day that the big slide happened 3 years ago in April. And we've been counting the days since then when we can again enjoy the sunset from the terrace and enjoy performances in the amphitheater. Yes, Victor, we did appreciate the $10.5 million, all of it. Please return the property to its pre-slide condition. The agenda report provides several alternatives for the amphitheater that simply would not work. The amphitheater is an extremely important part of the program at the Casa Romantica. The raised stage needs to be rebuilt. Rebuilding the stage at the ground level would not save much money, and it would take away from the performances. Putting decomposed granite down on the floor would be horrible. It would take away from the elegance of the Casa. DG is something that you would expect to see at a state park where the ranger gives his talk. So please direct staff to move forward with drawing up plans, getting bids, and I'd like to see hiring contractors. But please don't just take that money and run. That money needs to be put back into the Casa Romantica. It's an important part of San Clemente. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry.
Donna Vadrine. After Donna Vadrine, we have Jackie Grosseth.
I am in total agreement with the previous speakers, Larry Culbertson and Linda Williams. The Casa is city-owned property, which means it's public-owned property. If we're going to be talking in detail about different options, maybe we should have a public hearing and hear from the public. Have you talked with the board of directors at the Casa? They might know more about the programming and what is more appropriate than what we're hearing from the dais tonight. I mean, look at your expertise and think, do we need to explore this further? And the amphitheater is, in my opinion, necessary for programming at the Casa. And if you're looking at cost, maybe you could do private-public fundraising. Maybe and there might already be this in place, but maybe a Casa conservancy. The Casa is a jewel of San Clemente. That was one of my first volunteer jobs when I stopped working 80 hours a week as a nurse and an administrator. I've been a member there. I support the programs at the Casa. I've seen the hard work of the volunteers. Every time I go there, I have interesting conversations with people outside of Orange County. I mean, this is a jewel of our city, and it's something that we can showcase and highlight. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Another speaker?
Yes, Jackie Grosseth, followed by David Peter, followed by Lou Lito.
Good evening, City Council and Mayor. I'm Jackie Grosseth. I'm one of the executive directors at Casa Romantica. So first and foremost, I want to thank the city on behalf of our staff and board for all the work that you've done to get us to where we are tonight. It was heroic and a long time, and we recognize that and thank you for that. If we could put that one photo back up that shows the overview before the landslide, that would be very helpful. I wanted to share with you one important detail that I don't think has been completely explained to this point tonight, and that is that the zigzag ramp that we were referring to, that not only just gives access to the garden area and part of the amphitheater, that's actually critical for staff accessibility underneath that flat surface just to, I wish I could point, but I can't. There's classrooms and staff offices underneath that west terrace that is the back of the amphitheater. Without that zigzag ramp, the only way to get down there is through a very steep stairway on the other end of that. That's also, that space is large, and it's where a lot of our storage is. That's why if you go to Casa Romantica right now, there's a very unattractive storage unit out in the parking lot because our tables and chairs that we use for cultural events can't be stored down there because it's impossible to get down there. Also, if we have any staff member who uses those offices who happens to have a knee replacement surgery or some other reason why they can't go down the stairs, they have no way to get to their office. So that zigzag that connects that patio is vital to accessing that part from an ADA compliance perspective. So I would ask that the council take that into consideration when you're making recommendations. I also appreciate all of our volunteers who have shared tonight and echo their sentiments. One other item that I did want to bring to your attention and share is that the amphitheater was originally just concrete, flat concrete, and there was an effort that was made several years ago to add seating to that, and some of the people that are here tonight were a part of that. That seating was added, and those enhancements were made with donor money, not city money. Those were fundraising efforts that took place that Casa Romantica took upon themselves to do, obviously with all of the permitting and things that needed to happen. But to not put that back or to dismantle it means that all of the people that donated money to make that happen would be
Thank you, Jackie.
impacted. Thank you.
David Peter, followed by Lou Lito.
Good evening, Council. Dave Peter, Peter Drilling and Contracting, and I'm the current president of the Casa Romantica. Ruth Denault chased me down probably 22 years ago and got me involved. With the repairs that have been done, some of the damage was slope creep, and now that slope is stabilized. So there's a few cracks in the building. There's some separation on stairs. I believe overall that's kind of done and can be patched up and put back together. Years ago, I put in the parking lot, the amphitheater seating, the story circle, and I did it all privately with the Casa, with the city's blessing. And I'm not quite sure how all the funding went, but I floated about $100,000 loan for about a year to get that done. And then through whatever fundraising and city financing, I got paid back. You're throwing around numbers like 2.5 million, 400,000 to put in a new patio. It can be done for a lot less if we can do it privately. And I'm willing to spearhead that again. The first time, I think the bids came in at 450,000. I brought it in for about 200,000. Now granted, I donated my time and I pulled in favors, but I can do it again. The amphitheater was a problem because it wasn't ADA compliant. I think we just put a patio back down, keep the seating in place. That seating is the back wall and support for that west terrace and the building down below. So you got some offers. We met with Dave and Sean, gave them some professional renderings of what could be done. And that's based on the newest tolls grading plan. So you've got some options. And I think you ought to wait on the insurance payout to make sure, as Sean says, there's no hidden gotchas. But for that to function, you're going to need the back patio and really an ADA compliant from the parking lot all the way down the backside to the amphitheater stage or flat spot. We're going to lose the old walkway around the garden that was down below. But we even showed a way we could put a terrace in between, a patio type thing, all brought in for a lot less than you guys are talking about. And I'm willing to do it. Casa is willing to do it. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Last speaker is Lou Lido.
I'm sorry, it's not the best for last. Hi, Lou Lido, volunteer all over the city, docent for Casa Romantica, well over 10 years. I've given a number of you those tours. If you haven't had one, if you'd like an updated one, the offer stands. Contact Casa Romantica directors. I'd be happy to do that. A couple things. I'm a simple guy and a storyteller. The conversation is not us and they. It's all of us. It's a city-owned property. And if I recall, and I give the tour right, basically the reason why we even have the privilege of owning Casa Romantica as a home of the founder is because it was at that time private and city funds together that instilled the ability to make that purchase. So without that, we wouldn't even have to have this conversation. I think that we all have an opinion on what could be done there, what could be done culturally there, what could be done appearance-wise there. But let's defer to some of the experts on that. I like the point that we should go back to the insurance company because they have huger staff and smarter people on the legal side, perhaps, that are only paid to say no. So I agree. The 2.5 number, I'm not a math person, but I think that's just the beginning of a conversation. Go back and think about what it costs to refurbish North Beach, the estimate in time and the estimate in dollars. I'll let you do the research on that, but I think it took longer and cost a lot more. So there's an exposure that's there that you don't want to set or accept a lower number on that. My last comment before I leave is, why would we want to compromise anything that devalues what we had on a property that we all own? So like for like is probably just the beginning. As a marketing guy, we are less than 2 years from the 100th anniversary of the city of San Clemente. We already have a lot of global people that come and visit. We talk to international people all the time that look on the website that come to San Clemente specifically for Casa Romantica. We benefit from that in our taxes if they come and stay, or they come and eat, or they come and shop. But that is a true catalyst to bring a lot of people to the city. And I want you to think about that, suggest you do think about that before you start compromising what could be a lesser presentation than what we currently have. Thank you all for your support. Thank you for your continued thoughts on that. And I know you'll make some great decisions.
Thank you, Lou. Okay, so want to continue, Victor?
I'm ready to make a motion if we're done with all the public comments.
Okay, yeah, just for.
Want to have discussion for, I mean.
Well, are we bifurcating, isn't there some bifurcation to do here?
I would do that by, I mean, let me just tell you what I'm thinking anyhow. I would move item 1 where we pay the contractor, item 2A where we pay the drainage, and then on item 2B, I would say that we direct staff to go back and negotiate with insurance company on reaching an agreement, if possible, larger than 2.5 million.
Breaking down the 3 categories, financing each one of them as opposed to a lump sum.
Yeah, and breaking that down, yeah.
Okay, and do you think there's any value in bringing in and getting an estimate, a private estimate of what we really think the work would cost?
Yeah, I think that would be part of it, yeah. That's part of the motion, yeah.
And to bring it back like to like, so we would know what that.
Yeah, so we would know what the actual cost is, and we could then negotiate with the insurance company on that, yeah.
Does somebody? Oh, I'm sorry, Andy.
Just to clarify, with the Mayor Pro Tem, you had mentioned 3 categories. Could we add a 4th? There's some stuff, some underground drainage and things that we need to do probably regardless. Can we maybe break it into 4 categories rather than 3? What's that?
Is that a legitimate part of the damage claim?
Yes.
Okay, well, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Four categories.
Go ahead.
Did you second?
Mark and then Zen.
Okay.
Well,
We'll wait.
I'm in agreement with all the other things except for 2B. I think we should be willing to go with the insurance company as it is. And if they are willing to pay for everything above 2.5 million, it makes sense fiduciarily that we should have them do this and take this off the shoulders of the city, have them pay for it, get it done, have it like for like, enjoy the benefits of our Casa sooner, and again, benefits that benefit the entire city. I agree with the sentiments from the speakers that it's not just a nonprofit that gets to benefit from it. My children have gone to field trips there, and they have enjoyed the different avenues. I've celebrated weddings there. It really is for the entire community. But I think the offer that the insurance company is making right now, hey, let's get it done, move forward, and have a like for like, and we can go from there.
Zen?
Thank you, Mayor. I think the action we're going to take on page 7 of this agenda item, authorize the transfer of $452,000, authorize the transfer of $2.9 million plus, authorize the city manager to execute an amendment. That's, if you add this $2 amounts up, it's a $3.3 million. Then item 4, accepts the emergency slope stabilization repairs. Then item 5, authorize the city clerk to execute and record the notice for completion. That's all pretty straightforward. I would say we should just adopt, I would make a motion to adopt resolution number 26112. What we have a little bit of difference here is about what do we do with phase 2A and phase 2B. That's just a direction. That's not part of the resolution. So.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, and my issue is, I want to bring it back to just like what it is, like for like. I think that's great. I think we're kind of all on the same page here. There is an issue about best interest of the city, and yes, we could go and just say the insurance is going to fix it, and they'll do whatever they do. There is some benefit, especially after hearing David speak, that if we got a real estimate of what it was, of what the insurance company was going to pay us on our estimate. And then if we thought we could possibly do it cheaper, then we might have the money to do the roof or do something else that we don't otherwise have. There might be a benefit to see. We can always divert back to the whatever. We can always go back to that. This is just, let's see what we really think it's going to cost, and then see if the insurance company is willing to pay that. And I think we might be able to get more for our money that way. We can always revert back to, okay, just fix it like to like.
Mayor, I think it's a good idea for us to go back to the insurance company to see if they're willing to rate that $2.5 million.
Okay.
But the premise is, this is, as some of the public speakers said, this is the jewel of San Clemente, and this is something we're going to present to the rest of the world in 2 years. And I don't want to give them a damaged product. I don't want to. I would like to see all these amenities to be restored to the previous level at the minimum.
I think we all agree.
So if we can find a way to do it cheaper, at the same time we get a lot more money from the insurance company. That's not a bad idea. But
That's a win-win.
it's a win-win. But it's maybe we just try it. I doubt so, because if we decide let's just do it like for like, the insurance company will pay for it regardless of the cost. They're going to pay for it. If we go through Coastal Commission, comes back and forth, they're going to pay for everything. That saves us the headache to figure that out. We can give it a try to see if we can get more. I doubt so. I've dealt with some insurance in the past. That's my auto insurance company. They give you a lowball offer and then say, take it or leave it.
Well, and I agree with you 100% on everything you said. I think it's worth the try, just to see what happens. It's a no-lose. We can't lose.
Let me just say, and I agree as well. Let me just say this regarding the as-is. To say we all agree this is a jewel of San Clemente. We all agree that it's a community asset and the public enjoys it, not just the foundation that manages day to day. But to talk about as-is, when Ole Hansen built that structure, it had decomposed granite, driveways, parking lots, parking areas. It wasn't like it is today. It didn't have an amphitheater. It didn't have zigzag. It didn't have a number of things. When you talk about and Larry could attest to this, it's nice today, but it's not historically the way it used to be. I mean, look at Casa Pacifica, which is 100 years old this year, built at the same time by the same builder with the same architectural style. It's got a decomposed driveway leading right up to the front door. And it's a magnificent structure worth probably $50–60 million today. So I agree with Victor's suggestion of getting an independent review of the numbers and talking to JPIA. But at that point, we need to look at whether we go back and build everything the way it was 3 years ago, or let maybe a historical flavor of what maybe it was 50 years ago.
The other thing is that we don't even know if we're going to be allowed to do it. That's the other problem that we run into, is that we have to get I think someone has to get Coastal Commission. Who's getting Coastal Commission?
That's the city of San Clemente, so staff will be applying for that. And so that's one of the big concerns. It's going to take time to get, potentially if we get direction from council on what to go back to the Coastal Commission, we can start that process. But likely it could take a year before we get those approvals from Coastal.
Yeah. So timing is an issue. If we want to go back to the insurance, we're going to have to give ourselves a deadline. At a certain point, we just have to do.
Wouldn't be surprised if it comes back with another, added 6 months or more, trying to go back and negotiating, where right now we have this opportunity, get it done, we're getting the same product. Yeah, maybe we could save a little bit here, a little bit there, but in the end, we might not make it.
Well, if I have to pick today, I would vote for like. Let's get
it done and go. Yeah.
Okay.
The problem is we can't start building. We don't have Coastal Commission approval. We can't just.
That's sort of the point. Is even if we go back to the insurance, then it's more time on top of that. So either way, we still have to get it.
We can start the Coastal Commission.
Let's do them concurrently.
Process.
Okay. Let's go to Coastal Commission, ask for a permit, get the drawing done. At the same time, reach out to the insurance company.
Can we do that? Can we do that by the second meeting in August? Do you think, Andy, come back with something so we have a little bit more definitive and independent idea of what this is really going to cost?
with that direction, that will be the goal. I don't have control of either of those timelines, but we can bring back an update and let you know where we're at.
And in the meantime, we can actually apply for the Coastal Commission permit? Because we're going to do something.
Apply for the Coastal Commission for like and see
Right.
what, at least we can get that process started.
Okay.
Is that enough time or September, at the September meeting or?
Well, the Coastal Commission isn't going to come back
Yeah,
by then.
some update.
Yeah, for an update, I think it's good.
I think we need to, we need to take this logically in order, when the landslide happened, we acted in an emergency knee-jerk response. We had an $8 million contract because we didn't know how fast the cliff was moving or how dramatically. I've had contractors tell me that we had a time and material, if they had had a time and materials contract, we could have done it for half the price. I think rather than having a knee-jerk reaction now, I think we ought to take it step at a time. We need to get the independent consultant to look at the price, have that come back and decide how we move forward.
I think that was Victor's motion, pretty much, and I think
Well,
everybody.
it was modified to moving forward on a like-for-like with permits, which is going to be engineering costs, expense, and I think maybe we ought to just
Oh, it's
take
just
it
an
step at a
it's just
time.
an application. We just move the application forward.
The coastal, not the coastal, the insurance company, their consultants were working on an alternatives analysis, but we're just seeking direction from council on that. So they could continue with putting that application together for the city. I think that's my understanding. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, and I.
That's correct.
Doing that?
I think that was Victor. Yeah, I think waiting until the second week of August, get a better idea isn't going to.
It's not gonna hurt us.
It's not going to hurt us in time because we're already.
Yeah,
Pursuing
let's do both concurrently
Yes.
and bring it back after the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Did your motion
that-
include the items in the recommended
That
action?
was the first part, yeah.
we're going to pay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to clarify, was that motion on the first part to adopt Resolution 26-112?
Yes.
That's correct.
Thank you.
And Laura, do you understand what the motion is?
Yes, I had the same question as the city attorney, so thank you for clarifying.
Clarifying.
Does somebody want to second that motion?
I'll second.
Second by Councilmember Enmeyer.
And we're going to have a bifurcated motion or?
I think we're doing.
We do it all in one.
Victor bifurcated it already, right? You
Yes,
understand?
yes. So we're adopting Resolution 26-112 and then essentially returning back to the city council August 18th with an update.
With an update on the cost.
Correct.
JPIA, perfect.
Yes.
Okay, so is it clear to all of us now? All in favor? Aye. Passes 5-0.
Yeah.
Okay, next item on
Staff
the
is still here.
Next item on
Another
the
item.
agenda is bid protest hearing and consideration of a resolution awarding a construction contract for the project to Union Pavement Services Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $956,951, authorizing the city manager to execute the construction contract and finding the project categorically exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act.
Are there any speaker cards on this?
There is one speaker.
Okay, why don't, give whatever staff report you're going to give.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, members of council, Dave Riebensdorf, Public Works Director.
Excuse me, just one moment. Mr. Mayor, could you open the hearing? It's a protest hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry. We'll open the protest hearing.
Staff is recommending disqualification of the first and second low bidders, All American Asphalt and Pavement Coatings Company, and as deemed as non-responsive due to All American bidding as a prime contractor and a subcontractor to Pavement Coatings Company, and granting the bid protest by Union Paving Services Incorporated and awarding the contract to Union Pavement Services Incorporated.
Okay, any questions of staff before we hear from the speaker? Seeing none?
Jason Flowers?
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and city staff. My name is Jason Flowers. I'm with Pavement Coatings Company. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to address the council regarding the recommendation to reject our bid and award this project to Union Pavement Services. We respectfully request that the council deny the protest as it relates to Pavement Coatings Company and determines that our bid is responsive and eligible for award. Our position is based on 3 simple points. First, Pavement Coatings submitted only one bid. We did not submit multiple bids. We did not have interest in multiple bids, and we did not engage in any conduct that affected the integrity or competitive bidding process. The basis for disqualifying our company is that we listed All American Asphalt as a subcontractor, while All American Asphalt independently submitted a prime bid as well. However, that was All American's decision and not ours. Pavement Coatings submitted one bid and one bid only. Second, we had no knowledge that All American Asphalt intended to submit a prime bid. All bids were sealed during bid opening. No one informed us that All American would be competing as a prime contractor on this project. We had no ability to know whether they would ultimately submit a bid. As a result, there was nothing Pavement Coatings could have done differently, and there was certainly no intentional violation of the bidding requirements. Third, there is no evidence of any competitive advantage, collusion, or harm to the city. Our bid was independently prepared and submitted. Our price was fixed before the bid opening. The city has not identified any coordination, price sharing, bid manipulation, or unfair advantage of any kind. In fact, the recommendation before you would remove the second lowest bidder, Pavement Coatings Company, from consideration and award the project to the third lowest bidder at a higher cost. The purpose of bidding laws is to protect taxpayers and promote fair competition. Disqualifying Pavement Coatings under these circumstances does neither. We respectfully believe that the contractor should not lose a public works contract because of the independent actions of another company over which it has no knowledge and no control. For these reasons, I ask the council to reject the recommendation that Pavement Coatings be deemed non-responsive, deny the protest as it pertains to our bid, and award the contract to Pavement Coatings Company as the lowest responsive and responsible bidder eligible for award. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Jason. Do you have questions of staff on this?
Yeah, I do. I mean, what is the legal basis, if you want to be an attorney, or for the disqualification? Or is that something directed to our legal counsel?
It's the council member's pleasure who you'd like to direct the question to.
I think he wants to direct it to you.
So the item number 18 in the notice inviting bids says disqualification of bidders having interest in more than one bid. So staff's recommendation is to insist on strict compliance with that bid requirement and find that the All-American Asphalt and Pavement Coatings had an interest in both of the bids that they were related to each other, giving it an unfair competitive advantage and an advantage over other bidders, making it a material defect that cannot be waived.
If we use a strict standard
That's correct.
interpretation. Okay.
But just for clarification, what is the relationship between Pavement Coatings in Harupa Valley and All-American Asphalt in Corona? What is that relationship?
All-American Asphalt submitted a bid as a prime contractor and as a subcontractor for Pavement Coatings. So each were interested in the other's bid.
Oh, okay, so All-American was going to use Pavement Coatings as a subcontractor in this project?
Other way around.
Other way around. Pavement Coatings was going to use All-American Asphalt as a subcontractor.
Yes.
Okay.
So in other words, Pavement Coatings had an interest in All-American being not the low bidder because they were
Okay.
the apparent second low bidder.
And what Jason's argument is, he had no idea that All-American was going to bid. That's the contention? I mean, that's what he said.
That's his argument as I heard it.
Okay.
The standard doesn't have to do about knowledge, though.
Okay, so knowledge isn't part of it?
No.
Okay. Any other questions?
No, I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 26113.
Motion by Councilmember Emmeyer. You have a
Second.
second by Councilmember Wu. All in favor? Aye. Passes 5-0.
Just give at least a half a second for discussion on that.
Oh,
I agree with the motion, but I did want to comment, but that's all right. I'm with the majority.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Item, so.
Well, you can stay anyway.
Next item on the agenda is consideration of adoption of a resolution approving revised salary schedule and staffing changes for year one of the fiscal year 2026, 27, and 27, 28 biennial budget, including revisions to executive level compensation.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Brian Brower, Assistant City Manager. I'm here with Cara Marin, our Human Resources Manager. I do have a brief presentation. The item before you is an update to the city's staffing schedule. This is something that we do periodically. We need to maintain a salary schedule per city policy, as well as to maintain compliance with CalPERS. And so anytime we adopt a new budget or we make revisions to staffing positions here at the city, we update the schedule and bring that to council for ratification. So this particular update includes everything that was adopted 2 weeks ago in the biennial budget, which includes a number of compensation adjustments and staff position modifications. This salary schedule update also includes the terms of the SCCEA MOU, which is effective currently since July 1st and has a couple more years left on it, and specifically a 3% salary increase in year 3, which would take effect the first pay period in July. Also, upon ratification of the MOU a couple of years ago, the council in the motion or in the resolution included applying that 3-year or 3% increase to any non-represented executive or mid-management or confidential employee groups. So those modifications are also included in this salary schedule update. As I mentioned, with the budget adoption 2 weeks ago, there were 26 different position modifications within the budget. These range from aligning resources better with operational priorities and different service demands at the city. There's also some that were more of a measure of fiscal sustainability. We actually removed 4 vacant positions from the budget. And also some changes that have to do with retention of employees and succession planning, just kind of creating career ladders for some of our employees. And then lastly, this includes a part-time COLA to align our part-time employees with the full-time employee MOU. So adoption of this resolution does require a special measure where the council has to report out verbally, and I've included that language here. This is a government code provision that requires that, and then after making that report, the council could adopt the resolution. But I open it up to any questions you may have about the matter.
I don't have any questions, but I'm prepared to make a motion.
We do have
We have
comments.
public speakers? Oh, absolutely.
no comment? Okay.
Yep.
Amanda Quintanilla, followed by Tony Rubolino.
I usually don't talk about these matters, but it's come to my attention when just looking at the staff report, actually just the agenda item itself, regarding a change in salary schedule. I guess the salary increase actually of 3%. However, it's not just 3%. Actually, there's a specific it goes from 5%, 7.5, 10%, up to 12.5% for some of the staff members. So it's kind of, unless you look at the agenda and look at it and realize, oh no, it's not just a 3%, because there's other people that get a lot more than that. However, when I'm looking at the number 1 on the staff, this agenda, it says the new salary of $208,455.62 to $253,381.65. That, I think the math doesn't work out, because if it was 3%, it would be $6,253.66, which would be a total of $214,709.19. However, in that staff report, it says that the VP&R director is going to get 12.5%. So if you multiply 12.5% to the salary of $208,445.52, that is a total of $26,056.94. So there's a difference of $18,879. So I'm just kind of wondering, am I wrong with the math in doing it? Because I think there's some differences in math. So I hope that, if the staff could look at it and review it, just to make sure that all the math works out correctly, rather than just, because it kind of reminds me of the Estrella and McCallie contract, where there were some errors in the staff report that needed to come back to another agenda, another city council meeting with the corrected numbers. So I just want to make sure, I appreciate all our city staff and all the hard work that they do, but if we're being transparent, it gives the impression that all the staff are going to get 3% versus there's changes, other people are getting 5%, 7.5, 10%, 12.5. So it's not a straight 3%. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Amanda.
Tony Rubolino?
Okay, we are talking about $250,000 for BP&R director. And, I just look back at the times of COVID, and we had chain link fence around the parking lots. We had basketball hoops boarded up, the 37 tons of sand that was dumped in the skate park. I have emails here from that time with Samantha Wiley saying they still skated in it today. They cleared a little path through the park. OCSD needs to start citing at this point. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the concept that the BP&R director warrants $250,000. I just do not think that that's an appropriate use of our city resources. And, it goes beyond just COVID. Let's look back at the April meeting this year. We had the jet ski event come to the table, right? And the staff report under BP&R was no because public safety, no because of impact on beach use, and no because of city resources. Dante, I believe his name was, came in and he was willing. He said, you don't like the date, you don't like the duration, you don't like whatever it is, the launching of the vehicles in and out of the ocean. We will work with you. We wanted, I think he said, like a viable path, a workable path forward. Regardless, the director's response was no. Now, that is lazy directing. That is lazy argument against something like that. And if you're asking the city employee, the residents, to be on the hook for $250,000 for BP&R director, I do not want to hear somebody come up and present a well thought out, well established event and propose it to the city, which would be beneficial to the city, and have the BP&R director say, that's not the way we do it. That's not the way it's done in the past. This is a no from me. That is lazy. We should expect more from our BP&R director, especially if you're going to move forward with a $250,000 issue. I look at Huntington Beach, they're having parade routes, they're having citywide decorating contests, things like that. We should be looking at, things that I'm expecting for a $250,000 is I want to have like San Clemente level like turkey trots through the city. I see that we're, going the punitive route with the e-bikers. I want to embrace the e-bike community and do citywide events there. If we're going to pursue this, that few seconds left here, you need to make sure that that money is well spent and justified. What I saw in the April meeting is not warranting of funding like that. I also want to see that these emails from COVID were listing Samantha Wiley as the recreation manager. My question is, can we go back to that? Can we move something under Public Works? Is there anything that we can be done before moving forward with this? Thank you.
Thank you, Tony.
May I have a question?
Sure.
For the staff. The public speakers raised some questions, and of course we want to run our government efficiently. I think those are reasonable questions. But at the same time, our city manager, I highly trust our city manager. If it's proposed by you, there must be some good reason. Can you explain to me the responsibility, the budget, and the staff managed by our current Beach Park and Recreation Director? Maybe there's something extra?
I can. Currently, our
Please.
our Beaches, Park, and Recreation Director is currently not only in charge of the Beaches, Parks, and Recreation Department, but also oversees the entire golf operation, so the Golf Maintenance Division, which includes, I believe, 24 employees. She also manages our Public Works Maintenance Department. If you recall back about 3 years, we had 3 different directors over the areas. One was utilities, one was Public Works, which included maintenance and engineering, and then one was Beaches, Parks, and Recreation. With the departure of the then Public Works Director, those operations were consolidated under one larger Public Works umbrella, which was initially taken over by the then Utilities Director, who was up here speaking a lot this evening. Then recently, in the last, I'd say, year to year and a half, the Beaches, Parks, and Recreation Director has taken over the Public Works maintenance functions for the city. So the entire division was now moved under that person's authority. That includes all street maintenance, parks, facilities. I mentioned the golf course, sidewalks, trees, you name it. All maintenance functions for the city are also being managed by that person. As far as employees go, this position currently oversees 60 full-time employees and 169 part-time employees. That's more than any other director within the city. They also are the staff liaison to the Beaches, Park, and Recreation Commission, the Golf Committee, and the Arts and Culture Committee. So this person has a very broad scope of management and responsibility.
Okay, thank you. So the previous Public Works responsibility includes two parts, maintenance and engineering, and they are split. The engineering part was given to the previous utility director, which is today's Public Works Director. Then the maintenance half was given to the Beach and Park and Recreation Director.
That's correct. That is that's been an evolution it was over a couple of years' time, but that is what happened, yes.
Okay.
That is what has transpired.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Just a quick comment in response to one of the speakers. I think it's easy sometimes, looking from the outside, to make judgments on staff without really knowing fully what they do. And I just want to say, based on our staff and the directors that we have, I am amazed over and over again by their level of expertise, their professionalism, their hard work, and especially when coming to the BPNR director, she does incredible work. She's there all the time, days off, she's there. And yeah, it'd be like judging me on my teaching without ever coming to my class and just making your judgments based on what you've heard online. I am fully confident in in all of our directors and all of our staff. And when we don't show that confidence, when we don't show, and through appreciation through their salaries and other means, they leave. And we end up having a brain drain. And we've seen that happen before. So with that, I will make a motion to adopt resolution number 26114.
I was.
Just a moment. The government code does require that there be an oral report given regarding what the effect of adopting the resolution will do. So that language, as staff proposed, is on the screen or on the agenda.
So this needs to be read.
It does need to be read
Okay.
by one of you.
All right, I'll read it. Motion to approve Government Code Section 54953C3. And here's if adopted, resolution number 26114 would approve a salary increase of 3% for all part-time and all benefited full-time city employees, including all executive management positions, would regrade the Beaches, Parks, and Recreation Director from grade 83 to 88 on the salary schedule, with a new salary range of $208,456 to $253,382, and would approve a revised salary schedule with such changes effective July 6, 2026.
I will second it with additional comment to the city manager. It appears that this title does not reflect the full responsibility or It's more than a typical Parks and Recreation Director because now it includes a maintenance. So perhaps we can look into changing this title to similar to Director of Community Services and so on.
Let's call her Maintenance Director.
Maintenance director.
And that can come back later, right? We don't need to.
Of course.
Yes.
It's not a part of this.
Yeah, it's not part of this.
Okay, we had I just want to add, just for clarification, is that we did a salary comp study that took a long, long time. We did that a couple of years ago. That was what was salaries commensurate with other cities that do similar work, and that's how we kind of came out with the salary schedule. And as our assistant city manager said, we actually got rid of some positions and combined some positions. So our old titles probably aren't that accurate. And so with that also, and Tony, you made some great points. And I will say that Dante in particular, we found a path for them. They're going to be competing at the Ocean Fest. And that's going to get us, it kind of took us, because we weren't all of us around when they were doing the jet skis at all the time. And I like the idea. I like Dante. I think when we see that this is really a viable thing, I think we see a path to be doing these things all the time. Our city is known for all of its activities. I mean, I talked to my friend Lauren Kleiman, the mayor of Newport Beach, and I tell her about the things we're doing. She says, how do you do all these activities? I like the idea of enhancing our e-bike issue. Make those suggestions, email them to me. I think they sound like a great idea, and we'll see if we can move them forward. And that's for all residents. I know our beaches and parks is like party first. They're always looking for a way to do something, and I'd love any suggestions that anybody has, and we'll see if we can bring them to fruition. So with that, we have a motion by, did you want to say so? Sure.
Yeah, I would just like to comment on Tony's comment. I would hate to cast aspersions on what he knows or what he doesn't know. I mean, when people come and speak, they speak based on their knowledge and understanding of the community, and they have different perspectives. No matter what their perspective, I think people should be welcomed here to give whatever perspective they want.
No, that's what I was saying. I
agree with you.
I enjoy Tony's
Absolutely.
comments.
Those concerns are reasonable concerns.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and I think we all appreciate them. So with that, have a motion by Councilmember Enmeyer, second by Councilmember Wu. All in favor? Aye. Passes 5-0.
Next item on the agenda is introduction of the Real Estate Asset Management Program.
Andy, it's nice to see you. Nice to see you too, Adam.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council, Adam Atamian, Community Development Director. Let's see, we've got a presentation here for you. There it is. All right, so tonight we are pleased to introduce the city's real estate asset management plan. This is something that has been under development close to a year. I will go over it at a high level, answer any questions at the end, but I do want to emphasize this is an introduction to this program. Staff will be coming back in August for some final direction. There's a lot going on with this program, and so we want to give the council and the public plenty of time to digest it and work on any comments that they might have to help us improve the current state of the real estate asset management plan, or the REAP. So the city owns a rather large inventory of properties that have been acquired over decades. And for many different purposes. Historically, these assets have been managed at the departmental level, based mostly on function, meaning that community development or the city manager's department would be working on assets that are either being leased out or are vacant properties, whereas beaches, parks, and recreation would be working on assets that are recreation related or public amenities of some type. This has limited the city's ability to evaluate the entire real estate portfolio. which makes it difficult to identify strategic opportunities and really target the city's resources in a prioritized way to address various properties cohesively. And this all just leads to an inconsistent framework for future property decisions, meaning that a lot of the decisions that the city makes are based on property by property concepts or ideas put forth, rather than looking at everything under one entire portfolio and moving forward in a more centralized fashion. So the REAP serves a purpose of addressing all of those deficiencies. The key objectives or the benefits of this program are to create a centralized inventory of city-owned real estate, and importantly, provide greater visibility into assets, opportunities, and obligations. This is not only for city staff, but city decision makers, as well as the public. We get a lot of inquiries on city property, and trying to identify the relevant information related to those properties can be somewhat difficult without this type of comprehensive strategy. So we want to support strategic data-driven planning and decision-making, enhance that transparency and accountability that I've spoken of, and then just establish a framework for long-term asset management and stewardship, which really includes developing a language of real estate management and classification. So the purpose of classification is to create consistent management expectations related to each parcel. It supports long-term planning, helps prioritize investment. It also importantly supports the city's compliance with the Surplus Lands Act, and it helps establish operational directives for staff over the planning horizon time period of this document. So in the past, the city has really looked at its properties either as functional or currently utilized for city operations, or it's seen them as surplus or what we would call leasable. Those are relatively outdated terms, and so we've created some new classifications to better describe the functionality and the future direction that staff should be addressing each of these properties with. The staff report goes into great detail, along with the REAP document that's attached, to clarify what we mean by a core or strategic property. Those are pretty straightforward. Those are things that are within the city's operational needs or current uses. They'd be things like City Hall, the city's water reclamation plant, those types of facilities, all parks, those types of facilities. Open space is exactly what it sounds like. They're properties that are vacant in a natural state, and meant to be held in preservation for environmental, natural habitat, and even wildfire prevention purposes. Future development is a property that has future development opportunities, but is currently not realizing its full utilization. Underutilized are properties that have some type of use currently assigned to them, but have the potential to be used in a more efficient or effective manner for providing community benefits.
Could you just give like an example of one of those like an underutilized property?
Yes. Right now, we would, I think we could look at Steed Park as an underutilized asset. The reason for that is because the Steed Park is a very large property. Only some of it is actually developed as a park property, and there's a very large portion of that property that could serve some incredible purposes. It's one of the sites that we identify as an opportunity site, which I'll go into in just a second. But Those types of underutilized sites have been identified that way in large part due to interest that the city has received from members of the public, developers, people with ideas on how we can better utilize some of these properties. Surplus property, that's a very specific category that relates, as well as exempt surplus below it, that relates specifically to the Surplus Lands Act. Those are properties that the city has identified no necessary need for city use, either as a future development opportunity or an underutilized site. They're properties that we identify that would be best disposed of, and there's a process that the city would need to go through for that. And then the last one is temporary holding, and these are properties that generally come into the city's possession either through some type of like quitclaim deed. We've got some remnant parcels from when the like the freeway was put through the city, and so they're properties that the city has acquired through a process where the potential future use has not really been identified, and so that's something that we would want to look at. We don't have a whole lot of those properties right now, so that's not a major consideration at this point. To better describe all of these properties to the public, staff has put together the REAP dashboard. There are 2 links in the staff report that will provide access to this site. It's a GIS-based or Geographical Information Systems-based map that it'll show the entire city. Blue dots are representative of city-owned properties. There are also some green squares in there, and those are the city's wireless sites. Where we have leases for wireless facilities to some of the wireless communications providers. This dashboard is useful in a couple ways. You can look at, if there's a specific property that you're interested in, but you don't know its address, you don't know the APN, you can go onto the map and just click on that parcel, and it'll a box will pop up that gives you all of that information. It also gives you the status of the property, acreage of the property, the general plan, land use designation and zoning of it. Or you can go through the boxes on the right and look through all of the properties, and if one is of interest, you can just click on that line. The map will zoom to that location, and then that information will also be displayed. So this gives the public a very easy way to look at what properties are available in the city, what they could potentially be used for. We get a lot of questions on various pieces of open space property, especially larger open space properties, which are they're generally going to be difficult to develop. They require quite the process to convert from open space to anything developable. This will easily cut down on a lot of those questions that staff receives by giving that information early on. But again, it also provides information on all of the other properties that where there could be an opportunity for either some type of new facility, public-private partnerships, things of that nature.
Sure.
Want to ask a question?
Yeah, I do. Well, were you done with your presentation? I thought you had.
I've got, I think, 2 more slides.
Oh, go ahead.
It's pretty
Finish it. I'll let you finish. Yeah.
All right.
Boy, there's a message there, isn't there?
I thought you were ending. I have questions of Andy, though. I want to make sure you're doing everything right.
Yes, stay awake, Andy.
So the staff report and the REAP document identifies some opportunity sites. As I mentioned earlier, this is just an introduction, and we'll come back with a final version of all of this in August. But these are the sites where either staff has received some some interest from the public, or there has been some discussion about potentially looking at changing the use of these properties or investigating additional uses that could be provided on these properties. There are probably a few others that are not listed on this. So we're, at this point, asking for council feedback, the public's feedback. If there's any other properties where there's some interest, we could hopefully include all of that information in the final version of this. I'll highlight one such property on this list, the North Beach, what we're calling the North Beach vacant lot. It's the second line on this.
Is that the landers? Next to
Right
Landers?
next door, yes, yes. So right now, we are looking at that as a future development asset, and that's essentially from some council direction in the past. As the way it's been discussed is that the city would like to do something with it. We're not sure exactly what. The council earlier this year directed the BPR director to conduct a community survey to find out from residents what the community would like to see in terms of potential recreational opportunities on that site. So the discussion would be about converting this property from a future development asset to a core strategic asset. And more specifically in August, which direction do we want to go with converting it to core strategic? Meaning, do we want to have staff investigate recreational opportunities? Do we want to potentially put out an RFP to talk about public-private partnerships for some types of amenities? There could potentially be some other uses that could be investigated as well. And so the last slide here is going over what we're doing right now, which is introducing the REAMP, introducing the GIS dashboard. Any preliminary council feedback that you would like to provide tonight is very welcomed. Over the next month and a half or so, staff would welcome any one-on-one conversations with council to get some additional feedback, getting some comments from the public on how they see things being presented or new ideas that they might have. So in August, we want to return with the final REAMP. This document is intended to cover a planning horizon of 2 years. That's consistent with current city policies. It will have, I'll say, the finalized staff recommended property classifications, which would be up to final council direction at that time. And then it's also going to come with some additional supporting policies. There has been a few conversations around town with various HOAs about the possibility of the city taking over or acquiring some open space property, and there are definitely reasons why that could be a possibility, but there's no policy right now that talks about what the process would be for the city to entertain the idea of acquiring private property. And so we want to put that in writing so that there's an understood process of what information would be needed to help council make those decisions. We also want to update some existing policies related to property lease and sales. And then within the REAMP document, we would also be adding some asset management procedures and surplus land act administration procedures. So all of that will come back, but at this point, we wanted to start the discussion about the opportunity site specifically and present the GIS dashboard. So that concludes our presentation, and we are available for any
Thank you.
questions.
Do we have any public comments?
We do. We have 2 public comments. Mike Kay, followed by Amanda Quintanilla.
Staff, excellent report, very, very interesting. City Council, I'd like to recommend that you give direction to staff to continue in this amazing program, to expand it, but also to fine tune it, and it's in some of the verbiage right here. In the asset classifications, the property inventory refinements, if you would consider using some verbiage that emphasizes our concerns for fire reduction We're in a time where potentially going forward, our town will be looking much closer at fire prevention, regardless of whether the citizens initiative passed or not. That is a hot topic. There are considerable grants that are in the pipeline, et cetera, et cetera. So if we could, going forward, really fine tune it to include alternative ideas that look at fire prevention. That would include non-traditional fire breaks. I frankly would like to plant a couple of vineyards, as I've mentioned before. That's a very new concept for this town. Could we have working agriculture in this town and some of the city-owned lands? That is a CAL FIRE approved fire break method, and it's something, frankly, I would very much like to look at. I'd also like to look a little closer at goat grazing, and it would a little verbiage that mentioned use of range animals, livestock, et cetera, and really be upfront and honest about it. I also want to address quickly. Is there the clock's not ticking?
Where are you? Where is he at about?
About halfway. Okay. About 1:15. I'll speed it up. The mention of HOA lands. The vast majority, I don't think the public realizes, almost all of the open space you see in San Clemente, almost all of it is HOA land. We might think it's the towns. It's not. We own a little over 300 acres of what we're thinking of open space. There's more, but it's a golf course and it's water towers and things. But real open space, the city doesn't own very much at all. It's HOAs. I've been out there with the goats meeting with these guys. It's exhausting. It's dysfunctional to try to come in with a cohesive, private sector driven fire prevention system. I am going to need some help or oversight, whether it's me or other goat grazers or independent contractors from landscaping companies. It doesn't matter, but the fire prevention aspect of this going forward is going to need some help. The HOAs I've talked with over and over would love to get rid of that land. They don't want to take care of it. They don't want to spend more money on it. They don't want the liability. They don't want the homeless guys down there. They don't want the fires coming up. They don't want to deal with it. They don't want to bicker about taking down that one eucalyptus tree or not. So it's a new idea, but it should not be seen as some big, wild, crazy idea. It should be something we really take a closer look at. And then lastly, I need to move the goats over to Steed Park.
Tonight?
We're meeting on Thursday. If you could direct them and say that's a good idea.
Thanks, Mike.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Amanda Quintanilla?
I should have brought all my information on this, the packet that our city manager gave to me in 2023 when I first started, regarding all the open space that the city of San Clemente has, and I really appreciate that. I think it's really important to address that our open spaces, that there's problems with the landslide issues because some of the land is not able to build upon, right? There's landslide issues there, whether it's Capistrano land formation or Monterey land formation. As far as the lot at North Beach, it came under eminent domain. Well, the city acquired it through eminent domain after the 1993 flood regarding the drain there. And so through that eminent domain process, it was under Resolution 9455 that the only thing that could be built upon was a parking lot. However, was it last year that the city of San Clemente, the city council decided that they could do more to it. And when the survey came out by our director of Beaches, Parks and Recreation, it said on there, the sky's the limit. Well, the sky is not the limit on that property because there is a drain underneath. So that is basically not accurate to do a survey saying the sky's the limit, that we could do anything on that property. There isn't. There's a drain underneath. And so that should not, that maybe another survey should be done to really accurately capture that. And I did send an email to the city manager and to the director at that time saying the sky is not the limit on that issue. So also I really support trying to acquire more of open spaces. I think that's really important to do. And for the preservation of that, as far as forest sequestration, that's something that I had gone to the TCA Board of Directors oh my gosh, October of 2023, and tried to protect our city from a battery energy storage facility in Talega. However, but the idea still was lingering in 2024 through emails to Ryan Chamberlain and Mr. David Spears of the TCA that we should do a forest sequestration to offset, or for carbon offsetting, to promote that our city to increase our offset our carbon offsetting, and then also to promote the Tree City USA. So I think it's really important to do that. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thank
You had a question for Andy, Victor?
Yeah, I did. Well, actually, I wanted to just thank you for Adam, for the report and the investigation. It's thorough, but my question really is about, this is procedurally, we'll be back. All the projects that have been identified, we've already, I think, individually started working with different groups who've come, seen the list and said, let's talk about this project, particularly in the North Beach area. I think that it has some viable alternatives, some projects that could get done there, and they've come to all of us, I'm sure, on some of the other properties. But in what form will we be seeing this back on the agenda? Is it going to be an action item, or?
Yes, the REAP will be, the document itself will be, I'll say, finalized. The report will reflect specific direction that council is, or that staff is requesting of council. The REAMP document itself will be staff's recommended final version. And so if there are some modifications to that document, which would include the background, it'll include the classifications of the properties, it will include the actual list of all of the properties, their recommended statuses, as well as the opportunity sites list specifically. Those can be made during that time, but that document will be what staff, based on all of the information that we get, either from, in terms of council direction at this time or additional information that we receive until then, that'll be staff's recommended version. And then the staff report will highlight the things that, I think that we'll want specific direction on.
One of the other comments that were made about the use of the open lands that are out there, maybe I need to get closer, the open lands, that's going to be addressed in this report, and one of your recommendations also, right, in how we develop a new process for acquiring that.
Yes, we're going to be asking the city council to approve a new policy on the acquisition of property by the city.
Okay, that's all.
City manager?
Yeah, one of the things I wanted to point out, this council has made it abundantly clear that you don't want us to create new layers of bureaucracy that you have to go through in order to make decisions and those kinds of things. And that's not the intention of this plan. We're not trying to tie the hands of the council or future councils or say no to things in advance or whatnot. We're trying to be a little bit more organized, that it seems like a lot of people come to you with a lot of ideas on a lot of city property, and they're all about the same pieces of property. So it's just to kind of get it all organized so that we can have, I think, more comprehensive and better information and discussions for the council. But in no way was this intended to tie hands or be another hoop to jump through. I think it's more just to organize that. I think we're all surprised how many parcels. For one example I saw today, I think Linda Lane Park has about 20 parcels, some of them as small as 0.01 acres. So we could probably start taking a look at that and seeing if there isn't some sense to consolidate those into maybe one larger parcel to just kind of keep track of what's happening in the city. I think we're just trying to become more organized, not create a new layer for council to have to jump through here. That's important too. You've all mentioned that, so we just want to make sure that that's clear.
I've got a question for Andy. I know you did most of the work on this report, but how was Adam's presentation? Was it? you think?
It was excellent.
Excellent. Okay.
What did he miss?
Yeah. Is there anything he missed? Probably a lot, but we don't.
We covered quite a bit, so yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for your hard work, Andy. It's a good idea of you to have Andy doing this for you, by the way. That's leadership.
This project would not be where it is without Mr. Flores.
Absolutely.
I'll make a motion if there's any, unless there are any other questions.
Oh,
A second.
I have a comment.
No,
Okay, well, let's
I can
make,
the motion.
go ahead. Motion has been made.
My motion is to receive the real estate asset management program, including the initial program framework and the GIS dashboard demonstration, and direct staff to continue the development of the program, including any direction on refinements to the property inventory, asset classifications, policy framework, surplus land act, compliance procedures, and implementation directions, including an analysis or a review of fire prevention uses and government and private agricultural uses within our city-owned inventory, and return to the city council in the future for final approval.
Motion has been made by Mayor Pro Tem Millat, second by Councilmember Cabral, and comments by Councilmember Wu.
Well, I do need more time to study it, but at this moment, I have some simple suggestion. So since we only have about 24 pieces of land that's really of interest, focus on them, and also the zoning, designation, development standards, anything that's applicable to those pieces of land, maybe we can list them. On your discussion note, I think that's the most important column. The category is just a label. The most useful information is in your discussion or notes card. I'd like to see them to be a little bit more specific. For example, if you say the North Beach lot could be transferred to be a core/strategic. For an average people, they don't know what that is. So what exactly are we looking for? For the Steve Park, maybe it's recreational opportunities with sports and nonprofit organization, whatever that is. So let's be a little bit more specific. You actually said it in plain language. I think we can be a little more straightforward there. That's all. Thank you.
And have you done, has this been beta tested on the website at all, the kind of the concept yet?
For the dashboard?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's live. The links in the staff report online will take you directly to that site.
Perfect.
Are you looking mid-August, 1st of August, coming back on this?
It would be, we'd like to get it back the first meeting in August, but the second meeting in August, definitely.
Okay.
Okay, we'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Well, the first meeting in August will be very, very big, I would assume. Hope it's not that.
Well, let's hope it's not.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is the consent calendar. I do want to make one announcement. Item 11A1, the minutes from the 2:00 PM meeting on June 2nd have been modified just a bit, and there's a revised copy in front of you on the dais and at the back of the room for public review. And then we do have two speaker cards on 11G as in George and 11N as in Nancy.
That's 11G as in George, 11N as in Nancy. Any council members wish to pull any items from consent?
I move the remainder of the consent calendar.
A motion by Councilmember Wu.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Enmeyer. All in favor? Aye.
What was it, G and?
G and N. George and Nancy. Yes.
And the first card, it's for 11G, but there's no name on the card, so if the speaker is here,
Anybody wish to speak on 11G?
that was you, okay.
Okay, we have
And then 11N as in Nancy.
11N is in Nancy. Is there a speaker for?
That's Amanda Quintanilla.
Oh, that's Amanda. Okay.
Quick. I was really stunned and looking at all the cost on this, the quotes, they're just sky high. I just was wondering if there's anything that we can already have prefabricated. It's incredible the amount of what what the bids came out to be, and it's just astronomical just for ADA compliance there. And I do have to add that in 2021, I fought to have basically, first of all, doors on the restroom stalls at San Gorgonio Park, Jim Johnson Memorial Park for the men's bathrooms, and at Maxburg Park. I also fought for ADA stalls at San Gorgonio Park to be ADA compliant, because they're not. So I had to make it a report regarding our ADA compliance officer at the time. And she said that it was going to be off a couple of inches, but a couple inches does matter when you have to use an ADA stall, and if you have a wheelchair, person in a wheelchair, and those inches do matter to get that person onto a restroom a seating there. So I think it's important that to reject this bids, and hopefully we could do something a lot cheaper for that. But also look about doing San Gorgonio Park, basically doing the ADA stalls there, seeing what the cost will be. And then also the Maxburg Park, the faucet was not ADA compliant, as well as the faucet at San Gorgonio Park that's off a bit. Also, I think that's it, and I'm glad that you're rejecting these bids because they're just sky high. Thank you so much. And I hope there's someone out there that could do this for a lot cheaper, and I think that would be really great if we can. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amanda. Mr. City Manager, is this correct? The bids you received were anywhere between $117,000 to $450,000 for the same amount of work?
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. Okay, thank you.
Mr. City Manager, I have a question on that. If we look at the lowest number, 117, it seems plausible that we can use a force accountant to do it ourselves if we can further reduce it somehow.
Yeah, we're going to look at some different options. When we came back with those bids, we knew we needed to take a look at some different options, and that's why we're asking the council to reject these bids. They're higher than what this project should cost, and so we want to take a second look at these and see if we can do some value engineering.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I thought we were looking also at modifying the project design and what we were asking for. We might have overcomplicated it. We don't need the gold.
Correct, the gold standard, correct. We'll use porcelain, so. I couldn't help it. You opened the door, I had to walk through it. The porcelain standard.
I'd move the rest of the agenda.
Okay, we have a motion by Mayor Cabral. Oh, I think we've already moved the balance.
We just need,
You want to remove
Yeah,
G and N? Okay, motion by Councilmember Cabral, second by Councilmember Meyer. Our favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Next item on the agenda is oral communications, part 2, and we do have one speaker card. Tony Rubolino.
So you're not going to hammer us about the jet ski?
More jet ski talk. First, Mayor Loeffler and Councilman Cabral, I just want to thank you for at least being accepting of my comments, even if they're critiquing an agenda item. And for Mark, you remind me of the councils that we've had multiple cycles previously of why we have worked as a community so hard to not have people feel that they need to be intimidated to come here and speak in a public forum. So thank you to the rest of you, gentlemen. My comments are, my 12-year-old son just got an e-bike, and he's wanted one for years, and we said, no way, that's not happening. All his buddies had it. They were off doing their thing, and we'd have to drive them to whatever to hang out with them. We just knew the inherent risks. It was extremely dangerous, and those little kids, they just don't have the safety and the wherewithal to know how to operate those things. So he finally got one. I got one because I knew that I needed to go out and help him understand, what do you do when you come up to a gap in an inlet to a street, or a large crossing where there's cars that are coming around and they don't necessarily stop when they're making right turns, even if it's a red light. You learn things about the underpass at Pico, on the freeway underpass, and what side of the road you have to be on to navigate that safely when you're on a bike or a pedestrian. And anyways, my point is, went to the event this past weekend that was put on with OCSD and the city, and there were vendors there from Murph and Super, and it was just great getting to chat with them. And my wife thinks I'm crazy, but I feel like we've just been going in the wrong direction with the punitive measures on the e-bike community. I was driving down Camino de los Mares, coming back from Trader Joe's, and I saw just hundreds of them coming down the road, and I was able to capture it and just popping wheelies and everything. And I know it's illegal, and I know it was cool. It looked cool. I wish there was a way that we could embrace their spirit and their enthusiasm and make it something that is partnered with the city. The event that I went to this weekend was fantastic. There was lots of courses. It was just awesome. All the officers that were there, little cone courses and everything like that. It just was not well attended, because I feel like if you're going with the intent of like, let's teach safety, it's just not cool. It's just not something that this group of kids are going to want to embrace and welcome. But visualize if we had something where the city partnered and with sponsors and things like that, and we had drive-throughs through the city where streets were blocked off and things like that, drone footage overhead, and you had hundreds, if not thousands, of bikers. And I mean, it could be a cool thing. Like, why not make San Clemente not the punitive route that some other cities are going? What if San Clemente was the e-bike hub of the West? Like, that would be pretty cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony.
Next item on the agenda is future agenda items.
You have one? Sure.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask our city manager, I would like to agendize a report from our city manager regarding the potentiality of an outdoor amphitheater. Just by way of brief background, 20 years ago, we looked at the possibility of an amphitheater, but La Plata and Saluda, it kind of fizzled. The group that wanted to do it didn't do anything. 3 years ago, we had a review for an internal indoor sort of an amphitheater. That didn't really go anywhere. But for an outdoor amphitheater, I think now may be the time to at least look at this. What I'd like to recommend is a review of the efficacy of having a rudimentary outdoor amphitheater located at the backside of Steed Park in the storage area. There's a natural hill incline that could be built into. The problems 20 years ago was there was no parking, there was no utilities, there was no access. This location has access, parking, utilities, access to the public. It would be a phenomenal, in my opinion, amenity to our city. So I'm not sure strategically how to proceed with the Arts and Culture Committee. We've formed that committee with the idea of providing more cultural activities in our town, and I think an outdoor amphitheater would help there. So I'd like maybe a staff report, if we have 3 recommendations from the council, to just provide an outline on what we need to do to begin the process, not of building a Sunlight Theater like Oceanside has, a magnificent facility, but the beginning of a rudimentary facility in an area that could grow over time, over years, perhaps over decades, to really provide a facility for this town. So I'd like to ask the city manager if he could provide us an outline with how to accomplish that in the potentially not too distant or potentially distant future.
I think I have a second.
I was third of that.
Okay, I have a second by Councilmember Cabral, third by Councilmember Wu.
And also the Arts and Cultural Committee has worked on it, maybe have them to either give us a report or somehow give us an update.
I would envision that the program would include, obviously, their input in a major way.
I have an item. I wasn't aware when we did our committee and commission appointments, and I didn't realize it, that the chair of our Public Safety and Welfare Committee was in the hospital for 3 weeks with a very serious heart issue. And that's why he didn't appear and go to re-up for the committee. and he still has a desire to be on the committee. We do have a San Clemente Municipal Code Section 2.46.080 says the city council may exercise its discretion to waive any of the foregoing limitations if there is a lack of applicants for other cause. We are open with that one position, and we do have this person that wanted to come back. I'd like to bring that back August 4th for discussion, if I can get a second.
I'll second.
I get a second by
Would that be
Councilmember
for
Meyer.
this candidate alone or for an open?
It would be for this candidate alone.
For this candidate alone. I was aware of at least one other candidate that was interested in applying, and when they heard that we didn't have that last appointment, that they were looking to the city clerk's report, which just went out to submit an application. Could we at least have that person be considered along with the one you're recommending?
Is that a problem with that?
You can agendize whatever you want to
Okay,
agendize.
I will agendize Mike Greenwald and the person that,
Yeah, Chris Bound's his name.
Chris Bound.
And he
Oh,
may, and if he knows that your guys apply, he may not even want to apply, but at least leave it open.
I'd like both names
Oh, well,
on the record so we can.
We may want to just open it up.
Well, this San Clemente Municipal Code section says that we don't have to open it up, that we can just.
I'm fine just keeping it closed to those two.
Okay, second by Councilmember Meyer, we won't need a report.
I'll give it a third for a report.
Oh, we need a report? I mean, we're just,
At least
we're discussing.
Force them to do report.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, they'll just say,
Yeah, we'll just
Start
discuss
speaking.
it. Yeah, well, okay, a third by Councilmember Cabral.
Can I just make one point of clarification? I'm sorry, we had an ad set to go out for June 25th to advertise for this opening.
Hasn't gone out yet?
It has, I can still pull it, so we have not accepted any applications as of yet because it's not live on our city website until
Let's
that.
hold off until, I guess, until we have. the
Until
hearing that
August
you're
4th.
recommending.
Until we,
So-
I
Okay.
would say hold off until we have that. That's great. Okay. Hearing no other future agenda items? Hearing none?
City Attorney?
I have nothing to report, except it's a pleasure to serve the city of San Clemente. Thank you.
Still? Still?
We have two contracts to inform you about. The first is LGC Geotechnical Incorporated, providing for AC pipe replacement Northwest 308 zone, geotechnical investigation and reporting services in the amount of $41,900. And for MGT Impact Solutions, providing administration of mandated SB 90 cost reimbursement claims in the amount of $10,450.
And I'll make the motion that we adjourn to the next regular meeting to be held on August 4th, 2026 at 4:30 PM in the regular council chambers located at 910 Kai Negocio, second floor, San Clemente.
Second.
Second by Mayor Pro Tem Noblock. All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned. Good work, guys.
that's a little bit longer than I thought.